just a bloke in a bar.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode of Bloke in a Bar, and what a weekend of footy. Incredible weekend of footy, actually. And don't forget, guys, in today's show, it's the NordVPN Defense Play of the Week. Stay tuned for that. But let's just get straight into it. Let's face a bit of music, brought to you by Sportsbet. Go and give us a follow on the feed. A couple of weeks ago, actually, I forgot to mention, got up on a $55.
Well played.
Yep, absolutely. It was the Manly Titans game.
Yep.
A few anytime try scorers, so get around me. Get around me.
Hammy's Hail Mary got up as well over the weekend.
Yes, okay. How much was that paying?
Well, I was paying $30.
Ooh.
And then Tommy Dearden got scratched, so that leg was Darius Void, unfortunately. So
okay.
got recalculated to about $8, but, you know,
Okay.
better than kick in the pants. And Sugar, for the Get 'em On Side fans out there, had a $66 winner yesterday. So 200 punters, I think, followed him in.
Holy.
Good stuff. Make sure you go and get around.
The Raiders have a 66-point winner on the
No,
weekend?
that was a 46-point win.
Oh, sorry, yeah,
do your
yeah,
research.
No,
My
I
bad.
think 66 was Penrith. against
Penrith,
Tigers.
that's right.
That was
Yeah,
68,
yeah.
you idiot. So,
okay.
yeah, do your own research. All right, let's get into it. So, face the music this week. Eels, 18 defeated by Panthers, 24. Kempy took the Eels plus 14.5. Well done, Kempy. And Guru, going with his little tactic of backing the away team, 1-12. Paid dividends here. Panthers 1-12, got him $3.20 to get off the mark.
Might be enough to win the week, just well.
A nice start.
Maybe.
The next game. Oh, also, Matty was away last week. Didn't get his tips in, but Jack John submitted tips. So I've given Matty Jack's tips.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yep.
Sweet. All right, so Knights 22 were defeated by the Chooks 23. Tommy Bomb, you had your beloved Chooks for $1.72. Roo, again, the away team 1-12. $2.95 in the back pocket for you. Off to a good start.
Bullshit.
Then we move on to the second Friday game. South 28 defeated Storm 26. Kempy had South head-to-head for $1.57. Only one to get points
Yes. See?
in that game.
There you go.
Then we get on to Super Saturday. Raiders 56 scrape past the Tigers 10. Game of the round down there at Canberra Stadium. Jack Johns and Tommy had the Raiders to cover the 13.5. So good stuff to Matty and Tommy. Unlucky to Roo, who had the Tigers 1-12. Just missed
sucked
it.
in.
Just missed
Sucked
it.
in.
8 converted tries short.
Yeah, we'll get them next week. Dogs 18 defeat the Warriors 6. Myself and Jack had the Dogs head to head for $2.56. Tommy, you took the Dogs 1-12 for $3.50.
Sharp.
Had it not been for that Mitch Barnett chip and chase in the 75th minute, Kempy would have pocketed $5.90 for the Dogs 13 plus. So shout out to Mitch Barnett.
Oh, my fuck.
Good stuff.
Should have known that was going to happen, though, to be fair.
Good stuff.
Obvious.
That's a bad beat if I ever saw it.
No.
Fucking hell.
Good stuff.
He's
That
known
was,
for that, man.
we could tell that was going to happen, so that's why we
Yeah,
sure.
good content, but
But how good's the content been, though? I was like,
Awesome
You guys
content.
are into me right now. I'm
Awesome.
going, oh, fuck, damn. So that was actually a plan to me. I knew he would do it, so I went 13 plus because I knew the content would be fun.
Executed beautifully. Really good stuff. Cowboys 18 defeat the Broncos 10. Yeah, great watch this one. Queensland Derby, Cowboys and Broncos season, Premiership hangover confirmed, embarrassing stuff, good stuff. I was the only one sharp enough to see it coming. I had the Cowboys head-to-head for $2.10. Thank you. Dragons 18 defeated by Titans 38. Jack the Sharpshooter Johns had the Titans 13 plus. Well done, Matty. $4.10 in your back pocket for that one.
Bias.
Jesus, that's bullshit.
Yeah,
That's a
so
bias
absolute
bet.
bullshit.
Yeah.
And
that.
then to bring us home, Manly 10 defeated by Sharks 48. You're not going to get an easier. Sharks minus 3.5. Just ask Denon and myself who collected that one. So round 21 results. Matty, brackets, Jack, $8.56. Tommy, $7.12. Myself, $6.56. Guru, $6.15. And Denon for content, $5.37. Overall, Guru, 155.15. Myself, 150.68. Matty, 145.78. Denon, welcome to the 100 Club, 101.93.
Oh, I'm
Timmy
coming.
/ Tommy, 74.93.
That's shit.
That's overall.
That's very bad tipping, but I'm very close to
Did you
getting
put up
guys.
$1,000 dues last week, did I say?
Yeah, winner gets 1,000 plus we'll donate 1,000 to the charity of their choice.
Huge.
Just on that, we got Guru to nominate a team at the start of the year.
Yes, we did.
I've been waiting for this.
And interestingly, last week he took all the away teams to win 1-12. And one
Oh,
of those was the Gold
okay.
Coast Titans beating Manly 1-12, which got him $3.75.
Deduction.
So are we allowed to go
Which I
back in
find-
retrospect, are we? Like, isn't that your job to do that? I know no
What
one
I'm-
in the
what I'm
Tigers
saying
is
is-
doing their
Deduction.
job at the moment, but I thought maybe you should have done yours that
What
week.
I'm saying is that's an official warning, and you get one.
Surely he
That's
gets deducted.
No, this is how the Tigers work. It's just warning.
Oh, yeah,
warning.
yeah, you'll be back at training.
I'll be
Guru.
back at training.
Guru,
Guru. It's all
yeah.
good.
There's the door, mate.
Holy shit.
So just a warning.
Wow. So but he's done it 2 weeks in a row, hasn't he?
He has.
So
Worked for him.
fucking how's that a warning? He says, see you later.
Well,
Billy Slater.
He wasn't here last week. He knew what he was doing. He took a week off. He goes, I've gotten away with it. I'm just going to go into state for a week.
Jesus, you're not a good ref, to be honest.
Go over
Does
state
it,
lines.
does it say anywhere there how I had the Knights to make the top 8 at the start of the year at like heaps to 1?
No.
Is that, can we
No-
add that
no
in?
record of that,
Okay.
unfortunately.
How many teams do you support? You got the Manly, you've got Roosters, obviously Knights. as well.
Knights was just an astute bet. Like I got a soft spot for the Novocastrians, obviously.
Yeah, you had your whole fucking theory about the Knights Sevens, the Newcastle Sevens beating Queensland.
Yeah. So that's just understanding rugby league. In terms of teams I follow, just the one, just the Roosters.
Well, you
Premiership threats.
you do celebrate Manly wins,
I do celebrate Manly wins.
And doing
means you go
content
after
for them.
and you do content for them as well.
Well, that's rugby league first.
Yeah. That's face music. More coming up
okay.
later. But just watch yourself, Guru.
Headline rules: Denon catching up to everyone. That's what the headline
and
reads.
great content.
Yeah, bro. Yes.
Um,
Great content.
Well, you could argue Broncos are the content champions of this year. I reckon they've done this for content.
If anyone was going to argue it,
Probably
You could argue it
Got the right
because
guy.
when you think of it, like how fucking good would it be to have one of the greatest grand finals wins of all time and then come out the next year and just get pounded in the core of the earth?
Yeah, but people
so that's
already-
technically social media premiers, and that is
Can I be honest with you,
NRL
Kempy?
premiers. That's back-to-back premiers confirmed.
I think I gotta see him dominate a Mad Monday.
Yeah.
So I can
Good
name
luck.
content premiers.
Good luck. Madge will probably have him training on Mad Monday.
Well, we've only got a couple of weeks till we see. So
Yeah.
I tell you what, no one's walking out on Madge, and he would never take someone back.
Set Payne half.
But he's not coming. But he's not coming back.
Yeah,
Madge said, "See the door." He's not coming back.
that's a shame. Greatest front row of the modern era.
But he's not coming back. The point
No.
is,
post pro.
Must be a
Premiership.
bitter pill to swallow.
yeah, okay. Oh, Tigers won't be in the comp by the 2028.
Yes, we will.
Like if we did a vote,
Lenny's just did a TV deal. We're not going anywhere.
if we did a vote to kick out a team,
Broncos.
Tigers would win that by a fucking mile.
Big
Bring
Broncos.
back
be
the
fair?
Magpies.
Honestly, how many percent do you reckon Tigers would win that vote? Kicking a team out of
Broncos
the
would
comp?
win it, I reckon. Get him out of here. Redistribute the wealth. Yeah.
Oh, fucking
Tigers.
hell.
could be the first merged team.
Oh, wow.
The Brisbane.
Maybe a Perth Tigers in the next few years.
Ooh.
Adam Doueihi will be playing for Benji after all.
That's good stuff. Okay, time for the team of the week. Team of the week. Let's get into it, shall we? Team of the week at fullback, Teddy. On the wings, Mulatalo and Burns. In the centres, Sasungi and Chester. At 6, Campbell, Jaden Campbell. At 7, Nico Hines. Sanders just missing out, but Nico Hines was outstanding. Tamalolo at 8. 9, Brayley. 10, Talakai. 11, Keon. 12, Nanai. 13, Laurie. That is Dane Laurie, not Blake Laurie. And Fa'alonga at 14. Ashton Ward, 15. At 16, Sanders. At 17, Williams from the Eels. We've got three essentially utilities on the bench there.
Just before we do move on from Face to Music, just something I want to bring up that I've noticed from rewatching the episode over the last few weeks. You know, when like young kids come into first grade and you just want them to do the basics.
Yeah.
Don't go for your chip over the tops, your flick. Just do the fucking basics. I can pretend to go on for Golden Point every week.
Yeah. I
Miss
know.
me.
I know.
Absolutely miss me.
I know, it's
Earns no
embarrassing.
stripes.
It's embarrassing. It's like a kid like trying to like be like his father.
Yeah, shoot for the stars. I mean, you got told you have to
Like, I'll
support
do what
Manly
Daddy
and
did.
just go against them. Like,
I'll take Daddy's tip.
wait, who would be Daddy though?
He's your
Get
dad.
under the wing, kid.
He's the Golden Point king.
Have you
thought it was
hit a
Hanky's
golden
Dad.
point
I hit 2 in a row.
intentionally though, or was it
Yes.
like,
Yes.
just back every away team? For
No,
the whole
intentionally.
round?
I thought you watched Bloke in a Bar.
Yeah, I do.
Well,
Yeah,
then
big
you would have
fan.
known that.
Well,
Yeah,
big fan.
yeah. Too busy
Not
fucking
anymore.
singing songs and shit.
Far out. Who's HR?
Alrighty, it's time for the Code Sports Story of the Week. Don't forget, get your discount, $49 for the entire year. No more paywalls, and it supports the show, guys. So make sure to head to codesports.com to do. No BS, just sports. I think we all know what the story of the week is going to be. Tyson,
Broncos can't make that.
Tyson, what is going on? What is the latest at the Tigers?
Yeah, it's D-Day, again.
Weekly
the
D-Day.
weekly D-Day for the West Tigers. Look, today, as of Monday, Adam Doueihi is going to have a meeting with the club. From my understanding, it's not just going to be a face-to-face with Benji Marshall. There's a few guys that are going to be involved with this. We're likely looking at his management, Sean Millenkamp, the CEO, club officials, GMs of football, things like that, and Marshall himself. And this all goes back to, I guess, last Thursday, when news broke that Adam Doueihi was going to stand down from the weekend's game and not play. And that came off the back of Benji Marshall asking him to play lock. From that, the story's actually evolved in the last couple of days quite drastically. So it was initially reported that was the reason he wasn't playing. Then there was a second meeting where Marshall apparently told Doueihi, you will play you at halfback this week. And Doueihi said, no, I still don't want to play. Then Friday comes out, we start getting word that the club has no appetite to release Doueihi. Doueihi's camp has no appetite to ask for a release. They obviously play Saturday, and I mean, probably the worst performance of the Tigers' year so far. Then Sunday comes around, which was yesterday, and Doueihi all of a sudden can't stay at the Tigers anymore. People from Doueihi's camp have said that he can't stay at the Tigers anymore and play under Benji Marshall. That's how far that this situation has gone. And there's deeper rooted problems there apart from just the positional switch, which was initially reported last Thursday. So, yeah, it's kind of all unwelled again for the West Tigers.
Yeah, because you saw it. You saw obviously the initial can't play 13. Then you could argue it seemed like news was coming out of the Doueihi camp of like, actually it's not even about the 13. It's about deeper issues. What I'll say to that is I struggle, like, even if it is about deeper issues, it doesn't soften the blow at all for me. And it actually doesn't really make sense to me because, like, Doueihi has actually stayed with the club through 3 spoons. They've stood by him through 2 ACLs. And now all of a sudden, when you're playing your best footy, and that's Benji's got the best footy out of Doueihi, something that hasn't been spoken about. Now all of a sudden the standards aren't high enough. That doesn't add up. Like, so the standards were high enough when you're winning spoons, and the standards were high enough when you had your ACLs and the club stood by you there. Also in March, when the club didn't need to extend Doueihi, he was already signed till 27, end of 27. They extended him just randomly till 29. That's how much faith they showed on him. The standards were good enough then, but now all of a sudden they're so bad, they're so low. So I feel like we're kind of getting, it seems like his camp, I'm not saying just Doueihi, but maybe his camp is trying to soften. They've seen the reaction to the positional situation and tried to soften the blow a little bit, but it just doesn't add up. Doesn't pass the pub test for me, Roo.
Yeah, and look, I can't talk from a player's perspective. I can only talk from a fan perspective, and there's nothing you could tell me that's happened at the West Tigers. 1, that would shock me. 2, that would make me go, okay, I get where Adam Doueihi's coming from.
Yes.
And as a fan, I would hope the West Tigers players are fucking filthy at this situation. And if I'm honest, filthy at him.
Yeah, I got to say, it's bizarre for me because, like, funny enough, Adam Doueihi was like one of my favourite Tigers players with the style he played in. He played with so much passion, so much vigour. He was, every game he left it all on the field. So out of all the players that I thought might do this, he was honestly one of the last ones that I could have seen doing this.
Yeah, and I think unfortunately, this is going to be something that Adam Doueihi's going to regret for the rest of his life because, I look at the Ryan Madison situation. That's how we look at Ryan Madison now.
Unfortunately, yeah.
We're talking
Ryan
about
Madison's
an Origin player, a premiership winner. He's done all these. He was one of my favourite players coming through at the Roosters. I will never look at him any other way than the guy that took the fine instead of trying to play footy. And I will never look at Adam Doueihi in another way than when his team, they were on their knees and he made a selfish decision and chose not to play. And there will be 1,000 angles that will be pushed by his camp over the next few days. You chose not to suit up for your teammates and for your fans. And to me, that's fucked.
And what is strange about it is, like, he's played 13 before and
been
been
good at it.
and was good at it.
Quoted
and was
enjoying it.
And on top of all that, you spoke about this, Roo. We spoke about it before the camera started rolling, but he was close to Origin selection because he could play 13, not because he was a 7.
I would have picked him in that role because he is so versatile. We've sit here and had this argument for years on this show. I kind of think he's finally got to the point where maybe he is a genuine ball player. I didn't think he was for years. Tim did. I can't remember where you were sort of sitting, but like, he's not a natural born halfback.
No, he's not.
He's also not a halfback with a resume that's achieved all that much realistically.
Yeah, and so that's what's strange to me is, like, if he had have gotten that Origin jersey that some people have talked about, it would have been at 14, and it would have been, if there was game time for him, it would have been at 13 when he came on the field. So he would have taken. Look, I have no doubt in my mind if Laurie Daly said to him, "Mate, you're coming off the bench to play 13," that he would have said, "No, I don't want to do that." I'm pretty confident he would have said, "Hell yeah, let me get in there and rip."
He could have gone to the Dragons at the start of the year. The Dragons were after him pretty hard. He could have went. Instead of signing the extension with the Tigers, he could have went to the Dragons. He chose not to. He chose to stay at the club.
But you know why? The Dragons were even more of a basket case at that stage. They were just about to sack their coach. There's no other, I don't get it.
It's crazy, especially how this story's unfolded. And I will say this, from a media perspective, when stories like this break, you usually get word from so many different sides and whatnot, right? The Tigers will have their side of the story, Adam Doueihi's camp will have their side of the story, and then you can kind of all put it together, right? It hasn't been that way with this. We've heard a lot out of Adam Doueihi's camp all the way up to yesterday where all of a sudden Doueihi can no longer play under Benji Marshall. I've spoken to people at the West Tigers and mate, this has rattled the club. This has really rattled the club. From a fan's perspective, I think after the game on Fox, they had a camera in the dressing room and you could see the looks on these players' faces. Terrell May was speaking a lot. Api Coruscant looked distraught. And mind you, this is a guy that's seen everything in the game, from the highest highs to the lowest of lows. And then speaking to people around the coach, Benji Marshall, this has affected him.
Well, of course it's rattled him.
More than anything.
So Benji has literally built this club around Doueihi. He has moved Luai on a year and a half early. He's moved on a 4-time premiership winning 6 that actually has had an impact on the club, whether you like to admit it or not. He's moved on a year and a half early, probably burnt that relationship to a degree, to a point of, I guess, a little bit of return maybe in a few years, for Doueihi to be the main man at the club. And then literally, 6 weeks later, Doueihi says, "Nah, I'm out." He is leaving the club in a situation where heading into next year, Jock Madden's going to be your 7. And Jock Madden, he is a lovely bloke, and maybe he can continue to improve as a 7 and become a really good 7. But he's been in and out of first grade for quite a while. Then maybe Latu Fainu at 6, or you go the young fella, Andrews. The club is in absolute shambles. And I got to admit, I don't think the club, I've been critical of the club quite often in certain decisions. For example, I still don't agree with moving Luai on. I think that you had a guy that said to you, "Yep, I'm going to PNG, but I'm committed to seeing it out until the end of next year." So I was critical of the club then. Here, I think the club has every right to dig their heels in and say, "No, it has been a disaster for us, and unless we get something for you, we are heading into next year probably going to be favourites for the spoon." And I say that, I'm not trying to be a dick. I'm just saying, with Doueihi in that side, maybe you do fight for the 8, but that halves pairing, you're throwing a bunch of young guys on the deep end. Appy's getting older. The club they are essentially screwed for at least 2 years now.
Well, this is my biggest fear when it comes to this whole situation from a West Tigers perspective. If Doueihi leaves, there is however much money Doueihi's on, the club will get, because if Doueihi's pushing the release, I dare say the club's not going to have to put in. Another club will pick up his contract. There's no players for the club to sign. Then they're also going to have to compete for the year after with PNG, with all these other clubs for all those November 1
The club
guys.
built around him. That's what's crazy.
Exactly. And
they've looked at their salary cap for the next 5 years and said it's built around Doueihi as our 7, however much we're paying him. Now all of a sudden their cap is completely thrown out of whack, because let's say they're playing Doueihi $600K a year. They're probably going to have to pay someone $1 million. Now all of a sudden the salary cap is out of whack because they've gone into the market to get someone for $1 million. They didn't actually have that put aside because they had Doueihi already locked in. It totally blows their cap up for at least 3 or 4 years. It's crazy.
Yeah, and I'm keen to see where this all lies, but would this be happening if Perth and PNG weren't on the doorstep of people? If those opportunities weren't there?
I don't think so. And that's what's sad about this is obviously the NRL isn't going to step in, but I kind of wish that the NRL would step in a little bit and say, "No, hang on a sec. Wait. You can't just go sign a deal in March and then a few months later say, see you later." Now, the tough thing is, though, is only 6 weeks ago, the Tigers said to Luai, "See you later." So there's not much legs to stand on. But yeah, it's a disaster. I'll obviously get your thoughts, Hammy. Thoughts on the whole situation?
Yeah, very disappointing, but no one's bigger than the club, So Benji's kind of a couple of weeks ago, love it or shove it. He basically said, "There's the door. This is what we stand for," and he made that tough call with Jerome. So, Same thing probably goes here. It's a shame. He's probably been our best, if not amongst our best players for the last couple of years. But you can't treat the team like that, particularly when they need all hands on deck. They're busted as it is anyway. And just a message that it sent to a young guy on debut, I thought was terrible. How can he walk back into that team now? Do other guys want to play with him anymore? Probably not. Good luck to whoever gets him next. Do you want to play with a guy like that who treats a team like that?
Yeah, no matter what the reason is on Doueihi's camp at the end of the day, this isn't a stance against your coach. This isn't a stance against your fans. This is a stance against the guys that take the field with you every week, that put blood, sweat, and tears and have done a whole preseason. Like, no matter if they even relatively agree that Doueihi shouldn't have been moved to 13 and should have played halfback, you've got to imagine, like, Kempy, when you played, if this happened while you were a player.
Mate, it's unimaginable. It's honestly unimaginable. It genuinely, like, for example, you don't think that there are current Tigers players that keep getting swapped from wing to centre constantly, aren't sitting there going, fuck me, every week. I want to be a winger, but I keep getting moved into centre and I'm missing tackles, and everyone in the comments section on internet is absolutely tearing me apart. I don't even want to play here, but I'm doing it for the coach. Like, every single team has multiple players playing out of position. And in minus, like, for a period there, I wanted to play fullback, but I didn't play fullback. I played on the wing. Like, it's just like how like Herbie Farnworth, he's talked about wanting to play forward. There are so many players right now that are playing in positions they don't want to play. I mean, Stephen Crichton is playing with half his limbs not working, and he is out there for the boys. Doesn't need to be, won multiple premierships. And the sad thing is like, when this all initially broke, because I'm such a fan of Doueihi, and I just hope this is just one big mistake from him and it's not something that he's intentionally kind of spoken about before it all happening. But because I'm such a fan of Doueihi, I just assumed there had to be more to it. I assumed it. Now all the days have gone past, and really the only reasons we're getting is, it's deeper. It's deeper. What could possibly, outside of something so crazy that it would have gotten out anyway, like if something was so crazy that it explained his decision, it would be out by now. But as the best they can give us is, it's deeper about standards being dropped. Again, he was at the club through 3 spoons.
You don't go to judiciary on a Tuesday night to fight to play, and then all of a sudden the standards are dropped on the Wednesday.
Even that one's strange. So they tried to say, the insider or whatever tried to say he felt disrespected that he was in jersey 22 and he was going to fight the charge.
Didn't think he was going to get off.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Of course he's in jerseys. They're actually doing him a favour there by saying, well, look, we'll keep you in the squad just in case you do get off.
The Tigers were more confident that Latu Finu was going to get off than Adam Doueihi was. And Latu Finu had 3 weeks.
Yeah, and what's crazy is, so they even tried to be quoted as saying, would Craig Fitzgibbon do that to Nico Hines without telling him? It's like, yeah, if he didn't think he was going to get off, he'd name him in 22. And also, respectfully, Doueihi's not Nico Hines either.
Yeah. Yep.
Like, we're talking about a guy that's taken a team back-to-back prelims, an Origin player, a Dally M winner, and also can't play lock. Doueihi can play lock, has played lock. It's just...
There's a bit of an update from Code Sports. Matty's just flicked this one through to me. Peace talks between West Tigers star Adam Doueihi and coach Benji Marshall are done and dusted. The Tigers officials are expected to address the playmaker's future later on Monday. Doueihi was driven away from the meeting, which lasted less than an hour, by his agent, Isaac Moses. It's understood Marshall and CEO Sean Millenkamp were involved in discussions over Doueihi's future at the club, given his decision to miss the game against Canberra because he wasn't in the right headspace to play. So done and dusted, and he hasn't stuck around. So
as into train and that.
Yeah.
Well, it's a player's day off today,
Okay.
so there was no training today.
Surely he would have to do some training because he didn't train, some fitness and that, because he didn't play on the weekend.
There is a picture though that
less than an hour. It's not the longest meeting.
So Doueihi's been spotted in the car with Isaac Moses, a Mercedes. He's got a very big smile on his face, driving out of this meeting. If you'd like to,
I mean, maybe he was listening to his favourite song. I don't know. I don't know, man.
Can I just, like, once again, just optically,
Yeah.
I've never played. You would have a better understanding of this, but even just hearing those words, day off today. Tigers fan. If I like, I mean, you actually just said before, which I'm very interested to hear why. Like you said, it's not something around. It's not the club, the fans. You've sort of done the wrong thing. And if I was a fan, I'd be fucking beside myself. I think it's a huge middle finger to the fans. If I'm a West Tigers fan that drives down to Canberra to get fucking fisted on Saturday and he isn't there and chooses not to play, Hammy, are you like? I'd be filthy.
Yeah, I am filthy. I am very disappointed. Not what I expected at all from this is very surface level. When we were out there, ground announcing the other week, he came up, got around us, gave us a big hug. Didn't seem like the kind of guy who was pissed off and agitated and couldn't hack the joint anymore. So he really came out of the blue. Very disappointing.
We'll say this. We watched, Hammy and I watched a number of games together over the first 8 rounds or so, and you actually watched one of the games with us. And that feeling of those first kind of couple of months of the year compared to what it is now, like removing my job away from things, watching the Tigers play, I get kind of a numb feeling now, just kind of waiting for the next bad thing to happen. And at the moment, I'm going through the years, we were talking about it before, the years, I'm up to 10 years of just headlines dominating this club, and this club can't handle noise, and they can't get over these things, and it just, whether it's the club's fault or not, there's obviously a stigma attached to this club where players either feel that they can get it over the people running the club, or the club feels like they can do things to players and not have the consequences. The list is so long of headlines that have just dominated this club since they last made finals.
So in regards to your mail, there were whispers of there were a couple of players pissed off or whatever. What are the players actually feeling with your mail?
Yeah, well, there's a split, right? Obviously, Adam's going to have his group of friends at the club, and I'm not going to name names because that's unfair to those guys, that are going to be disappointed that Adam's not playing, and they're obviously talking to Adam, and Adam's saying, the club's done this to me, whatever Adam's feelings are. And they're going to feel a certain way. But I can say this, those couple of players, I am aware of who they are. They're not the type of players that are going to hang their boots up and go, you know what, we're with Adam and we're not going to play. Because they probably see the side of things that club first, team first, which has been chucked around the West Tigers. I can tell you for a fact that there are another bunch of guys at that club that are absolutely filthy that he didn't play on the weekend. There's guys playing, and much has been made of the Tigers injury list. There's guys playing that are completely banged up every week, busting out big minutes, that travelled to Canberra, that put themselves in harm's way despite being under the pump. That just looked at Adam Doueihi last week and said, as if you did this to us.
Yeah, what you spoke about as well, the fans, go and spend a day with a fan that has to go to a job they hate to give them not even enough money to pay bills. Yep. Go to a job where you've got to worry about a phone bill coming in because you can't afford to pay it this week, and you're on a payment plan for the last phone bill that you had, and then you've got an energy bill that hits you, and then you've got your license renewal that hits you, and you're going and working 50 hours and you can't afford to pay it. But guess what? When your paycheck comes in, the first thing you do is buy tickets for a West Tigers.
Your shining light is watching the West Tigers win, learn, draw, whatever the fuck it might be that weekend, and one of the faces of your franchise goes, no. I'm out.
Yeah, I keep waiting for the news to drop about the big reason. I keep waiting for this big reveal because I just can't believe Doueihi, a guy that I love watching so much, and also a guy that every interaction I've ever had with him has been such a legend, so good. It just doesn't add up. The two things don't make any sense. That a guy that would stick with the club for so many years through wooden spoons, then the club repaid him by sticking with him for ACL. Then he signed for probably a bit less, the 25, 26, 27 deal. Then the club repaid him and said, okay, here's a deal till 29. It just doesn't make sense,
This is the hard thing now. You find yourself with Doueihi's camp, who at some point they are going to do more to try and win this narrative, and they're just going to air more dirty laundry.
Yeah.
That every club has.
Of course.
I think the Tigers probably have more than the average bear, but they're going to air as much as they can
Yeah.
to just try and optically make the West Tigers look as bad as they possibly can. And I think, unfortunately for them, I think audiences, through shows like this and everything, I think they're a little bit more mature. They can see through it. They can see through where these stories come from, who's saying them, etc., which journos are saying what. I think it's evident where's coming from, who's coming from what, and all that sort of stuff. It's going to be an interesting few. And once again, mate, I think probably the most likely place Adam lands is probably the Bears. Would we?
I'd assume, but he'll be playing 13, Sexton.
No, for sure.
Yeah,
and okay, you think the fucking Tigers are a bit of a shamble? Sure.
Oh, bro.
Let us know how you go.
Trust me, talk about stuff going on behind the scenes. If you think there aren't stuff going on behind the scenes of the Bears, you are crazy, because I promise you, there's crazy stuff going on behind the Bears. I'll tell you that much for free. Freaking, yeah. Wow.
Can I say this? Just Benji Marshall, like I said, the club's been dominated by noise, but you watch how he handled the Lockie Galvin situation, never once put anything on Lockie. He took responsibility for a lot of that. Even on the weekend after the game, he was questioned thoroughly about the Doueihi situation. He He said, mate, I need to find a resolution. I need to make sure this guy's happy to be
He
here."
handled it really well.
He is handling
in a
it really
human
well.
way, a very human way as well, which I do respect.
That bloke last week, Benji Marshall last week, was sick as a dog. I'll tell you that. He was absolutely crook. His kids were crook. He had to go to the game on the weekend, had to deal with all this stuff. He fronted up and he spoke properly, which is something that I think we should take. We shouldn't take for granted, because you don't get that in the NRL every week. And this is the guy I feel the most bad for in this situation, because no one loves the West Tigers more.
You know what's crazy about the Benji Marshall? And I still think there's definitely questions around him as a coach. I still think that we'll wait and see over the next year or two whether he can turn into the coach that we hope he will be. What's crazy is he doesn't need to take this job. He doesn't need to be the head coach of the Tigers. He could do so much media shit.
He had his own show. He had his own TV show.
He could do so much stuff, go and do talks for big corporations and get paid a fucking... We're talking about Benji Marshall. Like, there are coaches with the personality of a fucking concrete wall that get crazy gigs.
Bit harsh on concrete wall.
We're talking about Benji Marshall, a guy that is very personable, very marketable, one of the greatest of all time. He doesn't need to do this. And he's doing his best, and he's getting treated like this. Like, imagine him waking up, getting that news, going, okay, hang on a sec. So he doesn't want to play at all, and I'm walking into a job that I don't have to do, but I'm trying to make this club better, and he's talking about team first. Like, it's just, yeah, I just feel sorry for him, honestly. I cannot believe this has happened.
It's going to keep developing through the day, so there's not much point continue to drip feed updates, but Tigers latest, Adam Doueihi will report for Tigers training on Tuesday.
Holy shit. Oh, God.
I don't know. Watch this space, I guess.
Watch
through
this
the day,
space.
But whichever way you cut it, it's a mess.
It's a mess because, like, again, how do you can't erase what happened. You can't erase what happened.
I don't know, like, what you're... I understand the point of view of, no, you make him stay because... he's not bigger than this club. But at the same time, and as I said last week with the Jerome Loy situation, and I think it's kind of evident with how this has all played out, I just don't think the West Tigers, despite how many opportunities they've had to learn how to handle distractions and all this stuff, they can't fucking do it. Let's be honest here. They cannot do it. So as much as Adam's thrown his toys out of the cot and he's going to get his way, I don't know what the West Tigers are going to gain from
Let me
keeping him there,
read you this, Drew. Let me read you this. So this year alone, we have Doueihi's talks, Jerome Loy tapped on the shoulder. Israel Folau signing drama. Jerome Loy announces that he's leaving for PNG. That's just this year. Last year, Benji Marshall signs a 5-year extension. Shane Richardson sacked amid drama board. Holman Barnes Group sacks the independent board. And Barry O'Farrell then rehires everyone. Lockie Galvin and Talon De Silva leave the club. Club sacks Jordan Miller for being late to training. Year before that, Stefano Utskamanu contract saga. Galvin asked for his first release, and this is his first year. John Bateman gets moved on mid-season. This is a club. I've just named over 10 points there in the last 3 years. What other football club has that much drama around them?
Yeah, it's just mental.
I think as well, if you go back to the start of the year...
content. It's all the content.
We do have the content.
Well, speaking of content, yeah, what was your documentary thing at the start of the year? Like
Rising.
Like that scene of doors that way. Fucking door is that way. Like this is the moment where if there's a line in the sand and you're fair income about being a proper NRL club and you're going to say the door's that way, if you don't want to be a part of this, get out. It's not even come walk back through the door on Tuesday. It's fuck off.
Yeah, I unfortunately, if he's coming back on Tuesday, but unfortunately, this does not make Benji look good at all. He should basically, the only way Benji can salvage now, if he is part of the squad, is saying you're playing New South Wales Cup until
work your way back into the team.
Yeah.
And that's the other one that doesn't look great on Benji is the going back to, well, you can wear halfback if you want, if that report's true, which I really hope it's not. And if it is, I think Benji needs to put a line in the sand now and say, I'm not going to get fucking bent over.
It'd be fascinating to see where what if he comes back, he trains, and he does play this role that they pitched to him. You're coming off the bench and you're going to play lock.
Even then,
It's got to be interesting.
Yeah, like it will be for sure. I guess it'll help a little bit if he does play that role. But it's just like, mate, walking out on a coach and refusing to play, and then the coach going, "No, it's all good, come back." Like,
it's a huge game this weekend as well. Tigers versus Parramatta, obviously the first edition of the Jerome Loy Cup. It's a rivalry game. There's going to be so much noise Sunday, 4:00. I mean. This week, this is just the beginning, boys. You guys, we've obviously got the show on Wednesday, and then this will be dominating the entire week, and I dare say the entire season.
I can't believe it. I thought there's no way he'll be back at training, but maybe, yeah, we'll wait and see.
Watch
we'll
this space.
Because, like, that's actually insane.
Yeah.
That's actually insane. All righty, if you want to get all the latest updates, go to Code Sports. Hopefully, you know, I still hold on to hope that there's more to why Doueihi did this. I really do, because of the experience I've had with him. He's such a nice bloke when you've had to deal with him. I love watching him play. It doesn't add up. It does not add up. But go to codesports.com.au/bloke, get your discount. And thanks for joining us, Tyson. Appreciate it.
Thanks, boys.
Panthers defeat the Eels 24-18. I think this game, yes, where there's some controversial calls. I actually, and I'm in the minority here, the pass I actually was okay with. The knock-on I definitely wasn't okay with. The knock-on I thought Bloke clearly knocked that on. It travelled forward out of his hands. The pass, I thought it was a 50-50 call, could go either way. And I've got to say, I feel like the Eels, it sounds a bit silly, I feel like the Eels lost it in the first 20 minutes. They had the Panthers were on the ropes. The Eels were all over them, and they just made error after error after error. However, the Eels were super gutsy. Panthers scrappy, not necessarily at their best. I think they got a bit of an Origin kind of hangover, it seems, but they get the job done. Root?
So the pass off the ground, you didn't
like
fall?
I was okay with. I feel like it just looked like a bad angle, and like it looked, it could go either way for me. It wasn't as dramatic. I felt like the Blaze Slungy one was definitely and also I do think yes, you could look at those two calls and say they led to tries or whatever, but you also played the Panthers with 12 men for 20 minutes,
Yes.
And that Mitchell Moses one, I would have been okay with that just being a penalty with Isaiah Papali'i. I felt like he really played for that.
Yeah, very fair.
What do you think? The pass definitely forward?
I thought it was forward.
Yep.
Yeah. I thought coming out of this game, I think this game did show just how important Dylan Edwards is to this Panthers side.
Yeah.
Jackson Edgar's an incredibly talented young kid and all that sort of stuff. But even just in defense, mate, I think there's those little things that as fans, we probably don't get a great appreciation of what Dylan Edwards does. But I just thought their defensive line the other night looked very different without Dylan Edwards calling the shots there. An enormous out.
I'd argue Edwards has dragged them through Origin period. The Panthers, and that's in a time where they actually have lost some games. But I don't think Edwards gets enough credit for how often he does drag that team through periods where Cleary has been injured. For a few years ago, it might have been Luai. But I think the last couple of years where he's either been injured or in Origin, I think it's been Edwards that has kind of dragged them through these tough kind of periods.
Yeah, agreed. 100%.
Doesn't get the credit for it.
No.
I agree with you, mate. I think in regards to the fullback, the young fella, he's got plenty of talent. But there's something to be said about essentially every kick return, you get a quick play of the ball or you break a few tackles. And also every fourth tackle, usually it's Edwards taking the hit up to get a quick play of the ball to give Cleary space to be able to kick deep. There are a lot of little things that Edwards does that just don't go. Like when Walsh does something, we all recognise it because it's all attack. It's incredible. It's sexy. But yeah, Edwards does a lot of the gritty stuff that you don't really see or at least notice as much.
Are we concerned? This Penrith side, they're obviously fantastic. They'll get Edwards back. Mitch Kenny will be back come finals. And I mean, it's the same conversation we had last year, but it is still just this left edge. That is the concern, right?
Mate, I wish I had you. I've been saying this for a bit now, and I've got a bit of a pushback not pushback, but disagreement that I'll let Tommy Bomb give his thoughts on that left edge.
Oh, I think it's obviously we've never disagreed on it being a problem area. I think
you said they're really good defenders, actually.
Tapes.
Best in comp.
Best in comp is what you said.
Well, statistically, yeah, they are the best. How about yours, Lars? I think that they will still stick with it though. I stand by that. I think that they're going to have to drastically improve it.
But you feel their attack outweighs the negative benefits?
I feel like if you're bringing in a Cogger or a Jack Cole to replace Blaze Talangi, their best strengths in attack are things that Nath does anyway. And I think that you're just doubling up. I think Blaze, despite the defensive concerns, they had that really nice second kick for the Milky Jenkins try. He brings a lot and he balances out Nath really well. So my take on it has always been that I think Ivan's going to do what he did with Tungo a couple of years ago, where he's just going to back himself in to get the best out of the guys that are there now. I don't think he's going to make a change in the halves. Happy to be proven wrong. But even to Rue's point, organisationally with Dylan not being there, you could tell. But even both Jack Williams tries, I feel like Dylan Edwards puts himself in a position where he pretty much goes over untouched both times. I think because of Dylan's work at the back, he probably gets at least a crack at Jack Williams on both of those to try and stop him. Not to say that it's a big ask to stop someone one-on-one in a situation like that, but we've seen him do it a number of times. So I think positionally, like that was definitely a thing that they missed. As even though Edgar, like he was pretty solid, like he got there at one point to save a Brian Kelly kick. So he had a solid game, but I think they did definitely miss him. And I agree with you, Kempy, that he
Yeah, like I agree with you. I think it's obviously a problem. There's no doubt about it. But I don't think they have guys in the squad that, yes, defensively they might be able to help solve that problem. But I think, as Tom said, you do lose a lot in attack then. So, I think it's a problem. And if I was going up against the Penrith Panthers in a finals game, I'd be looking to do what the Parramatta Eels did here. You have a look, Casey McLean made 28 tackles, Blaze made 33, Isaiah Papali'i made 37 in 65 minutes.
Yeah, in the first half, the left edge had 20 more tackles than the right edge.
Yep.
Like, genuine game plan. And they had, for a period there, first 30 minutes, the Eels were running for 10 more metres per set than the Panthers. And so I think we all agree it's a problem.
Yeah.
I do think that if this continues, Ivan Cleary might try someone else and see how it goes for a couple. Because you know what you're going to get with Blaze now. Like, he's been in for long enough. His defence has definitely improved, but it's a massive target area for teams when they play him. I do think if there's another couple of games that they lose or it's quite scrappy, I do think there's a world where Ivan Cleary goes, you know what, I'm going to pull the trigger. Maybe I'll sit Blaze on the bench for a little bit. I'll bring in Cole, see how he goes. If it doesn't go as well as I thought, and he's still, they're the same defensively, and we lose a bit in attack, I'll bring Blaze back in. I just think that going into finals footy, especially now, I do think it's a bit of a hangover right now from Origin, but let's say they keep at this level of playing. It's too much of a liability where teams will pick that apart and they'll score points where they usually haven't had such an easy way to score points.
Well, if he's going to start experimenting with that, he needs to do it quickly.
Yes, for sure.
There's only 6 games left. They play the Raiders this week in Mudgee. They then play the Warriors over there in New Zealand. I would assume if Penrith are locked in with a home final, realistically 6 games, there's probably 5 games left for them. I can't imagine them putting all these troops out in round 27. They'll probably rest them 1 week.
Thankfully, they got the Tigers in round 2.
Yeah, again, and mine is if they continue to play this poorly. It's not, if they bounce back, it's all good. But I do think it is getting to a point where I'm not asking Blaze Talangi to be the best defender in the competition, but at the very very least, heading into next year, I don't think he's going to sit on it that much longer and be okay with it.
And that's right. I just think it is going to be interesting. If he doesn't do it this weekend, once you take out a game that they'll rest players, they've realistically got 4 games left for the rest of the season. Is he going to fuck around with it that close to finals?
He kind of already has done it. He put him in the centres, and granted it was around Origin. I get that.
Yeah.
So, and you're looking for more of a Cleary type half to fill that void, which is Cole and Cogger. But he's kind of already done it to a degree. But yeah, I guess we'll see.
Can I throw something at you, Kemp? You brought up when he played centre a couple of weeks ago, and is that the suggestion that look elsewhere in the halves? I reckon there's a good chance Ivan's actually just toying with the idea. Like we've seen a couple of times over the years, like even like I know with Jamie Soward at different points, like he used to defend on the wing.
Yeah, or even swap into centre.
Or swap into the centres. Yeah. Like I reckon we're more likely to see something like that. So I reckon when he played Talangi in the centres
he was
that
seeing
week,
what that looked like.
Obviously it made sense with the halves dynamic anyway, but I reckon you're more likely to see maybe McLean and Talangi swap positions defensively.
Yeah, the problem with that is like McLean, and granted he's back from injury, but his defence since he's come back has been like not great.
Which is what makes it more concerning, right? But I think we're more likely to see them toy with like where those guys are defending as opposed to taking out Talangi completely. Yeah, no,
I'm with you guys. I'm just saying like if they keep playing poorly. Because right now, let's say they go and lose the next 2 games. That's like, I think that'd be like 5 or 6 losses in like, not 5. Will it be 5 losses in 7 games?
Yeah, they've lost 3 of their last 4 going into last weekend.
Yeah,
so
okay,
3 of their last 5.
So if they lose the next 2, that would be 5 in 7.
Yeah.
That's where I would think. That's when I go Ivan Cleary. And I know you're saying, oh, that's a big if, but it's like, fuck, they've been pretty close to losing these games. Like they got away with this one,
for sure.
My opinion. Yep. And so if it continues, that's the first area, port of call, I reckon Ivan will look at. But I do, my personal opinion is I think we're looking at an Origin hangover. And I think even internally, all their data would suggest they're going to be flat right now. We got to remember how big they started the year. Like they were flying starting the year.
Yeah.
So I reckon they probably expected this lull.
Yeah.
I reckon we're going to see them just go boom, straight back up.
Good time of the year to have that lull if you're that far out in front. But yeah, as Ruse said, they're kind of running out of games to try things in particular. Like there's no real soft landings here. They're all pretty tough games. So the Raiders are humming at the moment, playing for a final spot. They got them this week. Warriors over there. Roosters who are second. Storm, that's probably the easiest game they've got on the run home. Then they got the Dogs, who are fighting for a final spot as well. So, they're going to have to work out a time pretty quickly to give it a go if they are going to do that.
That's fair. That's fair. In regards to who played well and all that kind of stuff, mate, I just think Lindsay Smith and Liam Martin they're just so important to this side. I did find it interesting that Isaiah Yeo said publicly that negotiations haven't even started with Panthers. They haven't, he said, I would love to start talking about an extension, which is it shows you how the Panthers, they might be the only club in history that could delay talks with a guy like Isaiah Yeo, who is still an Origin player. He's the current New South Wales captain, and they're just sitting on their hands going, no, we'll wait and see,
The Australian captain, isn't he?
Yeah, as well.
Yeah.
That's crazy they haven't started talks yet. And look, I get it. They've earned the right. The Panthers, that's I'm almost giving them a compliment. They've earned the right to sit on their hands a little bit. But I was a bit shocked when Isaiah Yeo did say that. He said, I'd love to start talking. Are you shocked that they...
Yeah, I mean, I think it's... I think with a lot of these Panthers boys and Isaiah Yeo in particular, I think there would be a mutual understanding of we're kind of good here.
As in, they don't have to worry about...
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, especially when you consider without knowing the exact situation, but I'm sort of expecting a few players to leave this side over the next year or two. I reckon there would be there would have been conversations on the inside that I think they'd know that Isaiah is probably not going to go anywhere. I reckon.
You reckon? See, I reckon the other way. I reckon Isaiah's looking at it going, Lindsay Smith signed till 2029, and he plays essentially exactly like me, and they haven't even opened talks with me to extend. I actually think Isaiah Yeo would potentially not stay.
Yeah, okay.
I do think though, they prioritised signing Lindsay Smith at the start of the year, which is good management. He's obviously younger, and as you alluded to there, can be probably more of a threat to have left at a pretty pivotal point in his career. Where would you see Yeo going realistically in terms of I know everyone goes the Chiefs and stuff you'd have to pay pretty big overs for a guy like him to move his family.
If I'm a club that needs a cultural shock, it's Isaiah Yeo.
Oh, for sure. The appeal's huge in terms of the other side. But from his point of view, I'm saying he's been there his whole career. I don't know if it should be scratched. I mean, I think money wise.
But for example, what if the way they're balancing their cap is we've just paid Lindsay Smith, I don't know what it is, $800K. And they're saying we can't afford to pay another 13 type player in our side $1.1 million or whatever. You know what I mean? I actually thought more people would be surprised that they haven't extended, but fair enough. I guess we'll see. We will see. I think in regards to the game though, I thought Isaiah Yeo is unbelievable as always. Man, I thought Liam Martin, he's been injured for quite a while. I've got to be honest, I'm a little bit guilty. I don't know why I do it, but just forgetting how much he means to this side. Probably because they just get on with things and you don't hear much talk about it. But he truly is just a fucking beast on the edge there.
Yeah, he embodies everything that is the Penrith Panthers realistically. You've still got Mitch Kennedy to come back into this side as well, which I think he's in the same boat, mate. Probably even more of the same boat than Liam Martin. I guess Liam Martin's got, the premierships, all the Clive Churchills, Origin, all that stuff. Mitch Kennedy doesn't have that. I think we still sleep on how important he is.
Well, they extended him before Yeo.
Yep.
Which is crazy.
Crazy, yeah. They had, Appy in the door a couple of years ago. I'm like, no, we're good.
Who else stood out to you, mate, in the Panthers side?
Yeah, I think a couple of defensive little lapses. However, ball in hand, I thought Casey McLean, very, very good. Just his the amount of strength he's got, particularly to get that kind of try down. For a 20-year-old kid, pretty impressive. So, yes, okay, still a few defensive question marks, and there's a bit of a spot there that they have kind of identified, but I still think, ball in hand, what a weapon for those guys to kind of have.
Another part of the game I was quite impressed with, and granted, I know they looked a little bit scrappy, but the amount of offloads the Panthers were throwing. Again, I wonder whether that's Ivan Cleary tinkering with things. Maybe it's I haven't looked at the stats, so maybe I'm incorrect in the vibe I'm getting, but I don't recall the Panthers being a big offload side in past years. I recall them being very getting less conservative as the years have gone on, but a conservative side that would, instead of throwing the ball, it's Fish, it's Leota hitting the deck, quick play of the balls. But they had 17 offloads to 4. And I wonder whether that's Ivan Cleary just saying, listen, we're at the top of the table, we're pretty much locked into a top 4 finish. Let's try a few things as forward. Let's be a bit more rogue with our offloading.
Yeah, and I think even when you go back and have a look at like the Melbourne Storm during their period of, in the 2010s when they were, super dominant, like they adapted their football as well, especially in the late 2010s, like 2017, 2018, you could tell that there was an adjustment to their footy of moving the football more of a attacking style. And I just think as well with Penrith that when you get to finals, like you want to be able to play in it with a few different approaches, a few different styles to be able to use it in different situations. And obviously, we've seen it in the 2023 grand final and all that stuff when they're able just to push it up that extra gear, chase points, all that sort of stuff. So I think this Penrith side is in such a good spot. I think that I don't know who the next best team in the competition is, but they're not at the level of the Penrith Panthers for me. I think they're just getting themselves fully prepared for this.
I think it's also like a good side to do it against. So the whole year with the Eels, regardless of injuries, like there's been such a disconnect between their middles and their edges. And I think like I even remember that first game against the Storm, round 1. They just absolutely ran a train through them, and they did it a little bit differently. It wasn't offloads necessarily. It was more quick play. The balls around, getting that back row at marker, and then Harry Grant to jump out. But pretty good team to test it against. I got a lot of pushback the other week when I sort of brought up who are the middles coming through for Penrith. But even like just talking then, like they've told Leota essentially by the sounds of it that he'll be going elsewhere. Like talking about that they haven't re-signed Yo. Liam Henry for the first time this year has looked like probably on more of a level playing field to Yo in terms of Leota in terms of the role he plays. But like next year, like let's say if Leota does end up going sooner rather than later, like I don't really see, like it is a massive void to fill.
They must have someone because I just keep going back to the fact that Isaiah Yo is saying publicly, I would love to start talks about re-signing, and the club hasn't. That can only suggest to me that they've got a very clear vision of what their salary cap is going to look like and who is the next guy up. But I agree with you, mate. Like I'm looking at it, and there's I always forget his name, and I apologise. He played against the Broncos a few years ago. Big fella, plays a little bit like Moses Leota. Patea, yes. They've got him.
And he looks great, but like it's still a massive hole. Like, assuming
Papali'i into the middle, probably.
Yeah, potentially. Yeah.
Because I felt he played his best footy for the Panthers last year when he moved into the middle. So
but I mean, you've always had Scott Sorensen there to put. Maybe Isaac Tungo could play that role.
Yeah.
Well, maybe he made the move.
It's an interesting time. Panthers. It's an interesting time. I actually think there's going to be a bit. For so many years, there hasn't been much to talk about because they've just been like, that's their team. They go and win comps. There's quite a bit to talk about.
Yeah, and I think even Patea, as good as he showed, I'm pretty sure you'll find he was shopped around at the start of the year.
Yeah, wow, okay.
Which is wild. Like, I mean,
they've got the fella from the Warriors. Now I know he hasn't hit the ground running.
Yeah, Toby Crosby. Yep. He hasn't probably exploded the way that I thought he would over there. Probably a lot of those guys that came over from the Warriors haven't quite between Kalani going and whatnot. But yeah, there's another one that is in that system.
Yep. What are you going to say, Tommy?
I was just going to say, like, it is wild when you look at like the optics around Peter Wallace. Like, without diving into it, would be like, what an ideal spot to take over as coach.
Yeah, but really, if you don't get Cleary and Isaiah Yo,
you dive into it, it's fucking like there's a lot of pressure, and there's a lot of these guys that won't be there. Like the system that they've built, like it's going to be a big test for him. So yeah, definitely one to watch.
Shout out coming out of this game as well, Tommy Jenkins, the Milky Bar Kid, breaking Reece West's record of the 2003 season for most tries in a season for the Penrith Panthers. The Panthers that year won the minor premiership. Who do you reckon came second?
Roosters?
Yep. Who do you reckon played each other in the grand final?
Roosters, Panthers. Wow, okay. So that rules out the Broncos then?
Unfortunately, and the Tigers.
Out.
Well, I don't know about that, mate. Mathematically, we don't let players back on the field after they walk out, that's for sure.
Looking forward to seeing Panthers at the Rabbitohs.
I know where he's definitely not going. There's a fucking Tigers.
Because he's signed with the Rabbitohs on a long deal.
Unfortunately. Yeah.
I'm hearing the May brothers are on their way out.
They've extended.
And of course, the Panthers won that grand final.
Yep.
Clive
Lewis on the
Churchill
sting.
medal.
Rooney.
Nah.
Reece Wesson?
Fridis, the hooker.
Oh, damn. Okay, let's on to the Eels.
Another one let go by Brisbane.
Yeah, but because we don't let players come back in when they walk out the door.
No. Bye, Payne.
We have current reigning premiers. Still the premiers, mate.
Okay.
When was the last time you made finals?
2012. 11.
What a year it was.
11.
Like literally. Oh, you got something? Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, okay, on to the Eels. We need to get that horn or whatever sorted. Okay.
I'll throw one more at you too. That Penrith side as well. A father and son in the team too.
Wow, okay. Wow.
Crazy.
There you go. Okay, on to the Eels. I thought this was Mitchell Moses' best game for the Eels this season. He looked way more ready to go, free, not hindered by any injuries. He still had an error here or there, but I thought it was easily his best game. Easily his best game this year.
Completely agree. I don't think it's even close. He was really good in this one. I just think, I went through those tackle counts of the left edge for the Penrith Panthers. That's a good sign of a halfback that's in control of his footy side as well.
Yep.
They had a game plan. He executed it well. Disappointing they weren't able to get it done, but yeah, mate, Parramatta, once they get all these players back from injury next year, I know we say it every year, but I would be excited with Jerome arriving there as well. There's a footy team there.
Let's talk. We have actually haven't talked about Luai arriving. I love this signing. I am shocked beyond belief. Obviously, everyone can have their opinion. I'm not going to hold against anyone, but I've seen a lot of pushback from Eels fans, and I'm like, do you not learn the lesson from the Dogs by forcing a young guy in too early? It's essentially, and look, the Dogs are actually bouncing back and, whatever. But Mitch Wood, he's got a lot of heavy injuries. And at the moment now it's just about getting him on the field. And Lorenzo has got all the talent in the world. You would know more than me. But first of all, for Lorenzo to learn off Luai for just 1 year, but also who's to say, let's say there's an injury or whatever. Lorenzo comes in, kills it. Maybe, you've got Luai at the club for backup then. What about if Moses gets injured or whatever? I just think
that can't finish games.
Yes.
Yeah.
That has, last 3 seasons, he hasn't played the whole season. I love this signing. I really do. And also, the good thing is, he's not coming in for this cultural reset, all that pressure. He just gets to come on and be Luai that is a bloody good 6. I love this for the Eels, and I think it's going to be great for Lorenzo. I think that there's a world where Lorenzo is in the 19 anyway, come season end. I think this is an outstanding signing, and I don't know why there was so much pushback on it.
I can understand why Parramatta fans are potentially a little bit frustrated just because it's now the second year in a row they've got a Band-Aid 5'8" that you can't see the future. But I don't know if the future's ready right now. I tend to agree with you. And once again, you're getting a 4-time premiership winner for $500K apparently. In what world are you turning that down?
It's unbelievable. And on top of all that, okay, let's say you get halfway through the year and Lorenzo is ready. You put him in.
Yeah, it's no drama. Yes.
Luai's not going to be sitting there going, oh, fuck, how dare. He's already said even at the Tigers, I'll be dropped if I have to. It's a win-win. Instead of thinking about it we're not giving Lorenzo a crack, think about it you've just added a 4-time premiership winning 6 to your squad. That can only be good things. One that has openly said, I do not want to stand in the way of young players coming through. I think it's outstanding signing. I think it's super shrewd. I think it's bold. I think it's brave. And I think that the club is very aware, as soon as Lorenzo's ready, he's going to get a start.
Yeah.
As soon as he's ready.
And if for nothing else, for a calendar year, you have a halves pairing that won an unwinnable Origin series. It's not that fucking bad.
But it's get Iongi more experience.
Yep.
What do you think, Tommy?
Yeah, I mean, as Roos alluded to, they won an Origin decided together a couple of years ago. So for next year, it's unreal. And even watching the Eels at the moment, there's been a number of games, and this was one of them where they put themselves in a position to win, and a few injuries. They lost Moretti to an HIA again, which is I think the 3rd time this year, which obviously adjusted their rotation, and they're going to lose Dylan Walker, who I think is going to be a big loss for them, monumental. But
maybe Luai could play Walker's role at times next
potentially,
year.
But I just think where I understand the pushback from the Eels fans is everyone's talking about Lorenzo and that, and he's got a huge future. If Moses only has a couple of years left, if your halves pairing ended up being Volkman and Lorenzo, and you got Iongi as your fullback, I think that's a really exciting spine moving forward. So if they lose Volkman, I could understand the arguments to where it's but to get Luai for a year, it just elevates us a lot. It's probably worth it. We've got Lorenzo there, but I think it all just depends on how long Mitch Moses plays. So next year, if they make the top 4 or they look like a premiership threat at some point, I think it's definitely worth it. I think it makes a lot of sense. But if they're only slightly better this year, if you end up losing one of these other guys in your spine or in your halves depth, I can understand the pushback. But I'm very excited to watch those two week in, week out next year based on what they've done at Origin.
Hammy, who played well for you for the Eels? And if you want to touch on Luai.
Yes. No, I think for them it is a good signing. Yep, 1 year gives the young halves coming through another kind of year in the oven to kind of develop and learn under him. And I think the runs are on the board, aren't they, at origin level? The way that him and Moses have played when they've had their opportunities has been very, very good. They complement each other well. Jerome doesn't need to kind of lead the ship around. So I reckon, it'll be a good get for them. For me, outside of Mitch Moses that stood out on the weekend, I think Brian Kelly has had some good footy in him in the last little bit.
Mate, he was making me look like an idiot. I remember when they signed, I was like, mate, he might be an undercover. When you're looking at him going, holy shit, how good he is. To start with, he couldn't even make the bloody side.
Yeah.
They moved him to wing.
Yeah.
He's still got a Paul Reed here or there, but fucking unbelievable.
He's
on
found
the
his
wing.
spot, I think.
Yeah.
He is so good on the wing. On the weekend, he actually had better stats than Brian Toto. So 23 runs, 251 metres, 102 post contact, 2 tackle breaks. That's crazy. 102 post contact and you only 2 tackle breaks is insane.
Strong.
8 tackles, only 1 miss, and offload. Mate, he's been phenomenal. He really has. And I think it's another notch on Riles' belt. A guy comes to the club and he's playing bloody good footy. You know, Jack Williams as well.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think Jack Williams is another one. I thought he was tremendous the other night. I loved that Jason Riles made the decision, okay, we're peppering that left edge. I've got Kelmer there who's destructive, but Jack Williams, your job is to go up Blaze all night. Pepper him. Just quietly, boys, I reckon, and it's probably going to hurt him because Parramatta aren't going to play finals, but got a World Cup at the end of the year. Kangaroos, Dill Lucas gone, Hudson Young gone. There's back row spots that are available there. I reckon Jack Williams could be a little smoky to be in a squad. It's a World Cup, so you'll have a 25-man thing. I think Jacob Preston will be there as well, but yeah, I reckon Jack Williams might be one to keep an eye on. He can play front row and middle. Yeah. I don't know what's going to happen, but if, for example, a Keon plays for Tonga and a Tino maybe plays for Samoa, you might find them pretty short all of a sudden. True. So I reckon he's maybe one to keep an eye on.
Alrighty, time. The Roosters defeat the Knights 23-22. Bit of a weird one. I don't want to be too negative on the Roosters because I've been, not negative, but critical. However, my thoughts still stand in the sense that I want to see them play 2 to 3 high-quality games before they hit finals footy. I think the biggest takeaway from me from this game in a positive light for the Roosters is the absolute benefit of having a guy like DCE and Sam Walker in the same side when it comes to Golden Point. Like, genuinely, was a Golden Point. They went down the edge. Oh, no, sorry, not Golden Point. The game was drawn. A few minutes ago, they just did a normal set, got down their end, and DC just went bang, first attempt. And I think that to have 2 of those when a lot of other teams don't even have 1 of them, I think that showed you probably, now there's still a lot to see from DCE heading into finals footy, but that showed you why they signed a guy like DCE. That is just icing the game, no questions, first attempt. And I think that's a big takeaway heading into finals footy because they're probably going to have a game that's 22-all or something like that in the last 5 minutes. And Sam Walker, a noted goal kicker, can do a drop goal quite well. DCE, one of the best ever, really, in regards to golden points. So I think that's the biggest takeaway for Roosters fans is you got to see the benefit of having an experienced gun in the crucial moment.
Yeah, for sure. And if they're going to throw punches in September, you're destined to have at least one of those games. Yeah, realistically. On the same matter, I'm still not totally. I know they're sitting second on the ladder. I still don't see proper 80-minute performances with these games. And in saying that, you look back a month ago, they beat the Sharkies by about 20 points or so. The Sharkies are flying at the moment. The Melbourne Storm game didn't convince me last week in any way, shape, or form. I'm still kind of sitting the same way after this game. I don't know if Dill Brown and Dill Lucas aren't injured. Do the Roosters still win this one?
And KP isn't in this.
KP's not playing.
It's a weird one though, because I'm with you. And I've been saying this for a while, and Roosters fans have been pushing back and saying that I hate the Roosters, which is not the case at all. I think they're an incredible organisation, but I just can't shake the feeling that they're just scraping by. However, they're sitting second. What more could you really ask, I guess?
Yeah, it's hard though because, when you look at the context of the entire season, outside of, Penrith, you have got the Warriors who have faded over the last month. You got the Sharkies who have just suddenly picked up out of essentially nowhere. The Dolphins who have started to fade without Izzy Katoa. But in saying that, to the Roosters' credit, they're 1 win behind Penrith.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. So it's a weird one. I find myself, when I actually watch them play, I say, this team has so much more in them. But then when I look at it relatively to the rest of the comp, it's like, well, fuck, even Penrith aren't playing that good at the moment. So it's like, I think the thing for me, the main thing for me is this, take that all away, is I ask myself this, have I seen them play 3 games in a row of high quality footy? I haven't. I've seen the Dolphins do it. Sharkies, kinda. Give me one more good game. I've seen the Warriors do it. I've seen the Knights to a degree. Now their draw's a bit easier, and so I'm still very happy where the Roosters are. I want to be clear about that. It's just there's more in them. I'll go to a Roosters fan. Tommy Bomb, thoughts, mate?
Yeah, I mean, obviously happy to get the win. You sort of alluded there was a lot of caveats or asterisks in it in terms of KP being out. They obviously lost the 2 Dylans, which was disappointing to see. Like even just as I'm a Roosters fan. It probably did play a role in us winning that game, but devastating as a rugby league fan to see those 2 go down because obviously they're so big for that side. But I mean, we have had a number of wins against teams this year where, it seems like it's substantial in terms of the teams that we've beat. Like I look back at even like that Broncos game earlier in the year when we just really blew them out of the water, but then we let them back in.
Like, for example, the first 40 minutes of that game, that's Roosters rugby league to me. Like, that is hyper-aggressive, rolling down the middle. You cannot win the ruck. They are just too good. If you could give me a couple of games of that, I'm happy.
Well, like I thought noticeably, like I had in my notes here, like their push around the footy was amazing in that first 20 minutes. And, like they were sort of getting a roll on, like through guys like Radley and White and a couple of late offloads. I thought Spencer looked a lot better. I think converting that into points still a bit of a concern. And I also think on the other side of the ball, our 3 and 4 defence is still just such a concern.
Yes, Sam Walker and DCE have had some struggles.
Yeah, and like obviously Toots got injured in this game, so I think he'll be out for at least a couple of weeks by the looks of it. I was actually starting to look at it, and I'm a huge Billy Smith fan, but I was sort of thinking maybe Hugo Savala has to come in for him again at centre. I think having Hugo out there for longer in a key position like that, especially defensively, I think he's just been better this year.
Do you think you miss Billy Smith's upside in attack a little bit?
I think we could, but I just think like we get that elsewhere. But I think, like you said, when you think Roosters footy, you probably think roll them through the middle, quick play the ball. Sammy can play off the back of it. Teddy sniffs around the ruck. Like that's probably where the strength is at. So I think you would have argued, when Billy's had runs in between all the unfortunate injuries, he's probably been more known as a defensive guy for most of his career. So I don't know. I just think in order for us to beat these sides, as you sort of mentioned before, we need to be a lot better at executing those offloads and things off the back of once you find your front and you start to roll through them. Because like I remember that game, and we've got them again in a couple of weeks' time, but I was out at the game against the Panthers in round 3. We lost 40-4. First 10 minutes though, we scored first. We got on top, and they were really leaning into that style, and does disrupt the Panthers' defensive system. But obviously the risk of playing like high offload footy is the error count. And once we'd made a couple back-to-back errors, I think I could have gone to the bathroom and come back to a 20-4 scoreline against us. So I think we just need to do a good job of finding that balance of how to execute that at a higher rate.
Yeah. Man, it's weird. I feel so harsh on them because they come in second. Like I'm still happy with where they're at.
Yeah, I think the next 3 weeks are going to be really telling for the Roosters. They play the Cowboys this week, Thursday night, up there in North Queensland. Even looking at that, boys, like the Cowboys are at 250. Am I going fucking crazy?
Like they've been outsiders a lot lately and performing very well. What I will say about the Roosters is they've won 4 in a row now, 5 in a row, and they haven't been that convincing really in any of those kind of performances, which I think is a very good sign. If you're winning ugly now with a bit of improvement in you as well, that's only a good thing kind of heading into finals. There's going to be some good little litmus tests in the next couple of weeks, and they're kind of scattered on their way into finals, which is good. They got Penrith in 2 weeks on a Thursday night. That'll be kind of a good kind of yardstick to kind of get a bit of an idea where they're at. Then they've got a week against the Tigers, but after that they play the Dolphins again, probably a team that's going to be there when the whips are cracking at the end of the year. So we're going to find out, I reckon, over the next 2 or 3 weeks, sort of where they actually kind of sit. But I take your point, Kempy. I think given the fact that they actually probably are not playing their best footy, but they're still finding ways to win, is actually a good thing for them.
Yeah, I think the next 3 weeks are really telling. Cowboys in North Queensland, then they play Canterbury, who seem to be turning things around at the moment, playing for their season. They'll be desperate. And then they get Penrith at Combank. I think we learn a lot about the Roosters in the next 3 weeks. It is 5 wins in a row, as you said, Ham, but I mean, I wouldn't describe the win over the Knights as a convincing win for the Roosters. I wouldn't describe the win over the Melbourne Storm without Cam Munster as convincing. Parramatta game, sure. I don't. They don't feel like a team second on the ladder to me when I optically look at them.
Yep.
But in saying that, you watch the Warriors for the last month, they sure as shit don't look like a team that's third on the ladder as well.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a tough one.
Even Penrith the last month, they don't look like a team that's first on the ladder and $2.50 favourites.
And that's what's weird. So it's like, if you're a Roosters fan, you're sitting there listening and you're going, well, fuck, hang on a sec. Like we just spoke about how the Panthers have lost 3 from 5. Warriors have scraped by as well. I'm still happy with the Roosters at. Look, get in the top 4 and then let's see what can happen from there. They just need 3 good games in a row.
Well, I think you as Roo said, Kempy, you'll get your 3 in this next 3 weeks because even like looking at the last sort of 6 weeks of footy, there's always been asterisks. Like I remember, even like the Broncos were missing guys when we beat them 24-18, and again it was like, oh, brave win, but who'd they have out?
Yeah,
and, even with that Storm game last week, like we were in control the whole time, and then all of a sudden we let Steph through the front door on last tackle off Harry Grant from dummy half, and all of a sudden they're a Nick Meaney drop ball away from beating us. So I think Cowboys, who are obviously playing for cementing their final spot, Dogs who are doing the exact same thing, and then we sort of get to take on the minor premiers. So I think we'll get a better indication going into the last few weeks.
I will say though, think about how poorly, the last couple of years, they've essentially had to be red hot the back end of the year just to make the 8. Think about how much further along they are than that compared to the last few years. They are always although they haven't hit their potential, their average standard is way better than I've seen for quite a while.
And that was my point to you last week. Like you said, the thing about you want to see 3 good games, and I sort of said to you, well, the last few years we've seen them play 8 good games in a row, but that was to come 8th.
Yeah.
And to win the comp, it would have had to have been 11 games in a row. So I think this year we're going to put ourselves in the position where if we put it together for 3 weeks, that'll be week 1 prelim grand final.
I would argue the last few years. Now, granted, they came 3rd, I think in 23 maybe, but I'll just lump the 5 years together. I'd argue you could average their season performances at about 6 out of 10, average across the year. I reckon this year probably 7.5 out of 10 is the average of their across the board, and that to me is a sign that at the very least they're on the improve. I'm still high. They are to me a premiership threat. If I were to name right now 4 teams that can win the comp, they'd probably be 2nd or 3rd. So that's further along than what you would have said last year at this stage of the year.
I think the other thing that's really helped the Roosters this year, especially compared to other sides in this competition, if you have a look at Teddy, Cherry Evans, Sam Walker, Reece Robson, all 4 have played the vast majority of the season, haven't they?
Yeah.
No major injuries to that spine. They've lost, obviously, Angus Crichton was a big loss. Daniel Tupou missed some footy as well. But they've had a pretty good injury run, right?
Yeah, they've been relatively lucky. And they've been really unlucky in past years.
Yes, exactly right. Yes, yeah.
Speaking of Teddy, mate, that obviously 3 tries, which is great. But that try against the young fella coming through, is it Hopwood? No, what's the young guy coming through at the Knights in the front row? I'll get it up here. Sorry. Cody Hopwood. Cody Hopwood. I love that try so much because that would have been a trick that Teddy has used for so many years, where he kind of jinxes across the field and he just waits for that overeager defender to just jump out and then just bang off the right foot and go straight through. And I love that he's getting a bit older, and is he as explosive as maybe 5-6 years ago? Probably not. But that old trick, that old dog still got that trick in his book, up his sleeve, and it worked a treat. Got him did him like an absolute dinner. I love that.
I actually thought that try looked a lot like the Tigers version of James Tedesco. He used to come up with those sort of moments just on his own individual brilliance. And I think that's the other reality of this game is that, one, if KP was there, if you take Teddy out of this Roosters side, I think this gets quite ugly for the Roosters.
Yeah.
Teddy put this team on his back in this game.
Oh, mate, absolutely. I'm with 3 tries. He was outstanding. And there's all these, as a player, there's all these little things that you little secret weapons that you have in drawing out, for example, I'm sure when Benji Marshall played, there were certain things that he would do to make players overread so that he could step. And I just, as a player, or at least a former player, it was so good to see Teddy do something that he's done for so long that maybe you would argue heading into this year, he probably doesn't have in his bag of tricks anymore because he's a bit older. He would have been doing that since under 12s, just crabbing across, just someone coming out of line and I'll make him pay. And he's what, 30, what is he, 33 or something like that, 34, still doing it against a very young forward coming through. That I loved it. I love that moment. Teddy is an absolute champion. Is he the? I'd assume you'd probably say Freddie or Arthur, but is he the best ever Rooster? Could you say that?
I think he is now. When you look at how many Jack Gibson medals he's won, 2 premierships, 2 or 3 Dally M medals whilst at the Roosters, 2 Dally M medals, I think. I probably think he is the greatest Rooster.
Like, and I know people will push back on that. You guys got some absolute fucking legends, immortals. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I tend to lean towards him. I think like it's a different conversation if you want to compare as a player holistically, like him and Freddie. But in terms of like as a Rooster, like Freddie played in, was it 4 grand finals for us? He won 1, right? And it was huge. Let's say best case scenario, Teddy does get another one before he retires. Like, good chance that he's going to go 3 from 3 in terms of grand finals. And even like you look at years where we've struggled with injuries or just being clunky, like even the runs that we've had to go on a couple of years to just make the 8, he's been such a key part of it. And the other underrated thing about like Teddy's career, boys, is like ever since he came to the Roosters, like you could barely stay on the field at the West Tigers.
This is a basket case. This is a terrible club.
And then, he signs with the Raiders, backflips on them, and then fists them in the 29th
Never
final.
stepped with the Broncos though. A waste of time.
He couldn't get on the field of the Tigers.
No, I know.
They even have
You're welcome
full-time
for those
physios
2 knees, Teddy, and you've done great things with him.
Thank you for showing him the door because it's been a lot of fun.
I don't know if we showed him the door necessarily, but yeah, he's going on to good things.
You're the feeder club for the NRL, you know.
Wow, where would the comp be without us? Harry Grant, Mitch Moses.
We don't need a draft. Just send them to the Tigers.
We are the draft.
He never cops it for backflipping on the
Raiders.
Raiders the way that DCE copped it for a decade either. Which
Yeah,
is
because no one cares about the Raiders. Let's be honest.
yeah, it's fair.
Where's Timmy? Fuck Timmy.
I forgave that beautiful gift last week.
He did actually. I haven't told the people.
Last week I saw this on Packer Up Boys.
Can't wait to see what this is.
If you gave me 1,000 guesses what Tim got Kempy as a gift, I still wouldn't have
It's
got
not
it.
a signed Tim Williams portrait either. Just to rule that out. So
I should start. I already do review games and movies on Packer Up Boys, but I should start doing more of it. But so Timmy messaged me a bit ago, and he was like, "Hey mate, I've got a friend at Ubisoft, which is who make Assassin's Creed. Do you want any? They want to send you something, and so they've sent me PS5, a physical disc as well, which is in the gaming community at the moment huge controversy because they're not going forward with physical discs anymore, PlayStation. And people believe that physical media is really important to be able to keep it because if you don't have physical media, they can just shut it off on the internet. But anyway, that's
They're showing physical media at the door.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, they've Benji'd it.
It's more so because Kuma doesn't have Wi-Fi yet.
Wi-Fi, exactly. And so they gave me a collector's edition of Assassin's Creed Black Flag, resynced, got the map and everything. You know what? Let's just keep it on the desk here, actually. So these are all the places you can go in the game, mate. There you go.
That's cool.
Thank you. So thanks, Ubisoft. Appreciate it. Appreciate
That's
it. There you go.
Yeah.
good sell.
I'd love a present too at some point, Tim, if you give a fuck.
If it's going to be one of those, I'm good.
But yeah, just on Teddy, like with that Jack Gibson medal, like if you had to look through the last 20 years, like guys that have won it, Ryan Cross, Craig Fitzgibbon, Braithen Astor, Mitchell Pearce, Craig Fitzgibbon, Mitchell Pearce, Jake Friend, JWH, Sonny Bill, Pearce, Cordner, Friend, Cordner. Quite a mix of players. I think Cordner's won it 3 times there. Then it goes James Tedesco, James Tedesco, James Tedesco, James Tedesco, James Tedesco, Lindsay Collins, James Tedesco, James Tedesco. I reckon he's odds on to get it this year. He's won it 7 from 8 years. If he isn't the greatest Rooster,
Yeah,
and
fair.
I mean, we all sit here and go, it's the best team on paper. That means there's heaps of good players there. Teddy wins it every fucking season.
Could I take an insane take though? Has he been the best player in the team when they won a comp? Has he led them to a comp win?
Yes. I think that especially like 2019,
Yep.
I think that was his.
But do you reckon that was Cooper Cronk though?
I don't, no.
And Luke Keary?
I don't. I think like 2018, like that grand final, Luke Keary was the guy. Like I know like there's the whole narrative around having Cronk out there and how big
Yeah.
he was for us. But 2019, like Cronk gets Simbin in that grand final. Teddy's the one that comes up with the big play where he pushes through. Like Latrell obviously at a Toops and then he's there on the inside to win. Like I just...
Is that the one where you guys cheated?
I think it was just poor officiating, if I have to be honest. I don't think it was our fault. I think we just capitalised on it, and that's what I mean. That's why it's so cool. Like
I will say it gets glossed over, but that grand final, the Roosters defended their line unbelievably well for so many sets, and obviously that was the wrong call. I get all that, but like Raiders had opportunities to win that game.
I think that is the best game kicking wise, Jack Whiten ever had at 5'8", and Brett Morris had all the answers somehow.
Yeah, you talk about Jack Whiten obviously getting the Clive in that game. He was great, but mate, his kicking game, as you said, was unbelievable. And Brett Morris, I think he was very unlucky not to get a Clive Church.
Yeah.
That night.
And I know, widespread in the Roosters community, and he's one of us now, but absolute bullshit that DCE got the 2013 Clive. I could actually stomach Jack Whiten getting it. I thought he was top 2 best players on the field, and the only other guy was the guy that he was kicking at all night, which was Brett Morris.
Yeah.
I don't know how if I'm fully on board with this next statement, but part of me kind of is I almost feel like you shouldn't get the Clive if you're in a losing side.
I
just
it's happened a couple of times now and it shouldn't have, which I think takes the air out of it. But I think you could go back through history, and Jack Whiten's one of them where it's fair. He was.
But
he
you
was
just talked
so
about how
dominant.
good Teddy was in that grand final.
He was.
So
He had a couple of really big moments, but in terms of the entire game, if you watch back that game now, you'd especially the first half, you'd be like, I don't know how Raiders didn't win with how good Jack was. DCE, I would argue that's not the case in 2013.
Anyway, let's get back to it. With the Roosters, in regards to performances, boys, who stood out for you outside of Teddy and obviously the field goal? Nafahu White, I tell you what, he is Mr. Consistent in the middle now these days. My God.
He has had an unreal couple of years, but particularly this year, he's really gone above and beyond. I'm really liking at the moment from the last month or so, Spencer Leniu starting.
Yeah.
I reckon, he's been almost like a bit of a caged lion on the bench there for getting a bit itchy for the first part of the
Caged
season.
tiger?
No, not crazy. Well, it could be next year, apparently. There's a bit of chat.
They don't cage him; they just let him out.
Bit of
Free range
chat.
tigers.
There's the door of the cage.
There's the door. Out you go.
Yeah, Robbo showed him the door of the cage and he's out on the field. He's been, I'm liking him starting at the moment.
I do. It does kind of feel like it's his way of saying you should have always been starting me to a degree.
Yep.
Because he came to the club as it seemed like anyway, the next man up.
Yep.
But I'm with you, mate. I think Spencer Leniu's been, and that, again, that's a secret weapon that they could have heading into finals footy with Spencer Leniu hitting his straps. Lindsay Collins obviously not back yet. Lindsay Collins?
Nah.
When's he come back?
Must
Surely
be
soon. Surely.
Yeah.
I'll tell you the other interesting thing coming out of this game, and obviously they had the injury to Daniel Tupou, so it meant that Hugo had to go out into the centres, all that sort of stuff. But they only used 3 of their reserves, so Connor Watson was available, and they chose not to use him.
That's interesting, isn't it? Especially, he's not like he's a fringy or something like that. He's a bloody good player. And also such a tight game. You would think Connor Watson would be perfect to bring him on.
Break it open a little bit.
Maybe he
against
had a
his
bit of an
former
injury
club.
or something like that.
Maybe, yeah. But I mean,
Niggly.
still, they only used, Lasalo was sitting there as well that they could have used through the middle. They only used 3 of their interchanges, and I'd be, yeah. What do you think the plan was with Fluff if everything went to plan?
I think they were going to use him through the middle. Just looking at the team here, I do still think obviously I'm the Roosters fan, so a bit biased, but do you think that he's sold on Nat Butcher and Siwa as the edge back rowers? I think Siwa's definitely that's his spot.
Yeah, definitely Wong.
In terms of the other back rowers,
I like Butcher through the middle these days. I think he's a great middle.
I like both Butchers through the middle.
Yeah, but the problem is, I guess, could you try
Celeste,
Fiketti, or could you go Radley and Hugo plays a bit of 13 mixed with Connor?
Could you play Radley on an edge and play Hugo?
You definitely could do that. I think the only thing that would be stopping them is Radley's been so good through the middle recently.
I'd look at Fiketti. I like Fiketti. He's quite mobile. He's the only problem is you are throwing him a little bit in the deep end heading to finals footy.
Yes.
To go, hey bro, build this connection with your edge. I guess what Robbo's probably thinking is I trust Nat Butcher. I know that he's going to sort as much as he can sort our edge defense out.
Well, I think it's only a speed thing for Nat Butcher. I think in terms of his actual tackling, makes a lot of sense to have him there. But a couple of times been burnt for speed. So I'd be looking at Fiketti potentially.
Could you go Hugo?
You could go Hugo.
He's a big body. He defends essentially there anyway.
Surely, if you're going to do that, you play Radley there, don't you?
Yeah, and you just put Hugo in the middle.
When's Gussie due back? Are we expecting to see him before finals, or are we?
Not sure.
I don't think so. I think it's the vibe I got was that it's going to be touch and go if he gets back at all.
Okay.
So if he does, I assume it's finals. I could be wrong, but
Now on to the Knights. Still an incredible year, all that stuff, but we've got to speak about the negative. It is Dylan Lucas and Dylan Brown going down. Dylan Brown ACL, Lucas a dislocated ankle, it seems. Yeah, I mean, what is there to say? Dylan Brown has almost been an unsung hero in this spine, coming into arguably the most pressure. I won't say the most. I'll say one of the. You couldn't get much more pressure coming in and signing at a new club when you consider the history of the jersey, but then also you consider the length of the deal and how out of left field it was. And has not missed a beat, Dylan Brown. Has not missed a beat.
Yeah, he's been tremendous. They're really going to miss him. I'm interested to see how they actually replace him, what they do here.
Sandon, you reckon, and Fletcher 6? Fletcher Sharp 6?
Yeah, and I think you play Fletcher Hunt at fullback, move Sharp back into the halves.
When's KP back?
I don't think they're confident it's this week.
Yeah, okay. So probably Hunt at the back, Sharp in the...
I wouldn't be... The other option is you move Phoenix Crossland to the halves, play Harrison Graham at 9.
He's too crucial at 9, I reckon.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think you need to leave Phoenix there and make some other decisions elsewhere. Devastated for Dill Lucas, boys. Obviously, if I was picking my Kangaroos side, Hudson Young would have been my left edge, but as of this week, it would have been Dill Lucas for me.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. And then maybe Jacob Preston off the bench, potentially. But yeah, that's fair. And he would have had, and granted, I understand the origin, whatever, but he still got his debut. To go from Blues to Australia, that's a life-changing year.
Yeah,
life-changing year.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's devastating. It's the footy gods. They are cruel. They are so cruel. He's playing the best footy of his career. He's finally getting a bit of notice for how good he's playing. Because I think the funny thing with Dylan Lucas is if you follow footy as much as we do, we've seen him doing this for probably a year or two. But to the wider audience, it looks like he's almost just exploded onto the scene and like, wow, who's this guy from Newcastle Knights? But because the Knights have been so poor over the last couple of years, it's kind of flown under the radar.
Yeah.
And he's finally getting the credit he deserves for how well he's playing, and just boom. I think the main thing with Lucas is to hope that when it dislocated as cleanly as possible. There aren't other fractures and all that kind of stuff, because sometimes obviously it can rip out and be worse. Ironically, he actually might be back before Dylan Brown is. I'm Devo for Dylan Lucas. Thoughts, Tony?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of the injuries, you guys touched on it. Devastating for both Dylans. I had in my notes early on in the game with KP out that you spoke about Phoenix potentially moving into the halves. I love how they use him as a ball player coming back from an edge normally, but he was definitely doing more of that with KP out. And then as the game went on, they lost Dill Brown. You could still see even more of that from him. So I think that's a nice addition that they've got there. But it's definitely a pretty big blow to their campaign. And as much as they were so brave, and I spoke before from the Roosters perspective about the role that played in us winning that game, but even seeing guys like Matt Croker doing what they're doing, and there's so many, we use the term green shoots, there's so much of that this year.
Do we use that too?
Well, handsome people do. So we, we do use that term, and there's so much of that this year, and you normally use that.
I think green shoots just made its debut on this podcast.
Yeah, green shoots literally never been said on this podcast before.
Oh, I was as I said, I was talking about handsome people, so that checks out. But normally you talk about that with a club that's on the up, which they are, but they've also been in the top 4 for a lot of this year. So the other one that I just want to throw up quickly, the more I've watched in the last few weeks, and I had a mate ask me if you'd rather have Marzu for 400K or Brian Toto for 800K a few weeks ago, and it really threw me. But would Greg Marzu be in the top 5 wingers at the moment on form?
Form-wise?
When
yes.
you factor in
I think
so.
Yeah, this year his numbers are 200 plus most weeks.
Yeah.
Of Greg Marju.
Bunch of tries too.
And I feel like when he first came onto the scene, he was quite had a bit of rocks and diamonds about him, but I feel like he's pretty much gotten rid of that. So yeah, I just wanted to point out he ran for 186, and to your point, Hamid, that seems like unders at the moment for him. So yeah, love what he's doing.
If anything, it's actually been Dom Young that's struggled recently for form.
Yep.
Out of the two.
For sure.
There's Marju makes this incredible break out of his own end. They've got all this momentum, and then Dom Young drops it. He's got to find a way to fix that, Dom Young, because he's so crucial. They aren't a team like the Roosters that have all these other stacked players to kind of, if he goes missing a little bit, they can fill it. He is the staple of what the Knights do well is Dom Young and Marju getting bulk meters out of their own end and being good finishers. His form's dropped a little bit, unfortunately, so hopefully they can bounce back.
I reckon just one little spot to watch here is if KP doesn't play this weekend, which apparently there's every chance he won't. As we said, we assume Fletcher Hunt will go to fullback. I don't know where Dane Gagai is as far as his return. Young fella that's done really well through their grades, been playing cup the last few weeks. Toby Winter, who I think he's played a role in letting go of Dane Gagai because I think he'll be the right centre eventually. Obviously, they play the Broncos this week at Suncorp. It's a big ask, but he's handled the jump up to New South Wales Cup really well. He's only played about 8 games, but I reckon he's a real star of the future for the Newcastle Knights, and I kind of hope they give him a shot there.
Okay. And speaking of stars of the future, Francis Manu Leilua. Mate, he is a beast. He's
Weapon.
He's an absolute weapon. You got McEwen on one edge. I'm assuming it'll be McEwen and Francis heading forward. Is McEwen injured?
Yeah, he's injured at the moment. I think he's due back in the next week or two, though,
Okay.
Joanne McEwen. You got Thomas Cant there, obviously.
I'll tell you what.
Manu Leilua's really come to life.
Yeah, if you've got McEwen and Manu Leilua both playing really well, that is damaging on the edge. They're big, powerful athletes. I've said it before, but Manu Leilua reminds me of, is it Nonu, the rugby union player?
Nonu, yeah.
Nonu, sorry. Mate, that hole that he hit and the pace that he got up to for such a big boy, just a special player. I cannot wait to see him develop.
Yeah, I think the other one that I want to give a big rap to for this season as a whole, but I thought this game he was really good, Matty Croker.
Get into 20K, guys. Give him a follow. He's trying to get to 20K followers on Instagram. Give him a follow.
Good bloke. Followed me back last week when I did that. So
Did he?
get around him.
Yeah, he got the follow back.
He's a good man, Matty Croaks. He is
Bats out
a
for
really
Matt.
good fella.
Get your bats out for Matt.
Have a bat for Matt.
That too. Film it. Send it to him. No, don't do that.
Whoa.
But yeah, huge congratulations to Croker and his form.
Explains the hammy follow all of a sudden. Yeah, his form's been great this year. I remember in coming back from Las Vegas to the airport, some of the Knights boys were geeing him up, calling him Bradley Clyde or something along those marks because he played 13, all that sort of stuff. But mate, he's held on to the 13 jersey all year. You couldn't possibly look at changing him. He's playing 60-plus minutes just about every week. And for me, Matty Croker, he's obviously a Newcastle kid. He just personifies the Knights. Like,
Yeah,
might not
absolutely.
have all the talent in the world, but fuck, I'm going to work my dick off and just show a jersey
Yep.
as long as I possibly can. So I love what Matty Croker's doing this year. Good reward for a guy that's worked really hard to get to where he is.
Yep. And just quickly, Trey Mooney, outstanding, 16 runs, 127 metres. This is against the Roosters forward pack with White in it. 46 post contact, 2 tackle breaks, but here's the kicker, 45 tackles, 0 missed. He is just, like right now, still for me, it is Holbrook Coach of the Year. Now we've got a few more rounds to go. But what he's managed to do with this night side's outstanding. But if I had to be hypercritical, there's a few games now that they've kind of like could have won and they didn't. They've got to find a way to, it can become a bit of a habit. You don't want to fall into the kind of Eels territory where we keep saying every single week, geez, they were brave, just they were brave. And granted, the Knights have been better than that, but I feel like the last probably 4 to 5 weeks, they've had games there to ice and they haven't.
I would argue the last 3 games in a row, they were games they could have won and, in my opinion, should have won. Had they won those 3 games, they would be sitting on 32 competition points, the same as the Sydney Roosters, with 1 more bye to come.
Wow.
And you are having a conversation about, okay, Newcastle could host a home final in Newcastle. Obviously, these injuries have really fucked things up anyway, but the last 3 weeks have absolutely crippled this club, unfortunately.
I cannot wait to see what they build up there. Just give Holbrook time to build what he needs to build. Far out.
I think Matty Croaks is a really good example, again, of Holbrook, though. Like, it was interesting having Jack's perspective, who obviously spent a lot of time up there. And he was saying how, like, we've been watching Matt Croker in Cup for a couple of years now, and apparently it's been really well known for so long how good his hands are for for a middle up there. So I think seeing Holbrook unlock that this year with him, like, that's definitely not a coincidence.
Yep. Okay, on to the next game. Rabbitohs defeat the Storm in a back and forth affair. For a period there, it looked like the Rabbitohs have absolutely bombed this one. But Campbell Graham scores in the corner. This is hard because the Rabbitohs have actually been so brave this year. So brave. When you consider all the injuries, the fact that they're still in the 8, it's actually amazing. And I honestly feel like Wayne Bennett's probably the only coach that could have managed to do this. But when you compare it to where you would have hoped they'd be at this point in this year, I'm struggling to think of even a single game where I've gone, that's an 80-minute incredible performance. Maybe the Melbourne Storm, but Melbourne Storm weren't doing too well back then. Gutsy win, though, from the Rabbitohs. Considering all the injuries, gutsy win.
A gutsy win, yes. And I tend to agree with you. And they've got not the excuse, but they've got the injuries to fall back on, that this season's been derailed by them. But I agree with you, mate. I don't think at any point we have seen, I would even argue, I'm not sure if we've seen it for an entire half. South Sydney, at their best, it is an incredible team on roster. For all the players that they've got out and missing, there is still a number of incredibly talented players that a lot of other rosters would kill to have on their side. I really hope we do see a year where South Sydney, this current squad, and maybe it will be next year with Payne Haas arriving, I hope we get to see a season where they put it all together.
Yeah.
And they play their best footy. Or even a 10-week run I'll take.
Yeah, I'm with you. Because when they do get it flowing, it's some of the most entertaining footy you can watch. I will say, though, some positive from the game, Ashton Ward.
Yeah.
Just a battler. He's in everything. I don't want to just making comparisons. Someone sometimes can feel like you're taking away. He's his own man, Ashton Ward. But geez, he reminds me of Luke Keary so much, and that's a compliment because Keary played way above his weight. And I think later on in Keary's career, he probably lost that. He used to play super fast into the line, and it would just take time away from the opposition to make decisions defensively. Early in his career, that was like he went away from a little back into his career, understandably so. He'd had a lot of the head knocks or whatever. You could probably speak to that as well with him being at the Roosters. He was just so good at hitting the ball, just flat stick and just hitting outside him. And I just see Ashton Ward, he tackles above his weight. He goes deep to the line. He's fast. He's a battler. He's a joy to watch.
Is he the answer? Is he the halfback moving forward?
Yes.
I'm closer to yes than I ever have.
Yes. Yeah, I'm with you. I need to know. It's Cody. It's hard because he's still sorry. It's the whole spine. Oh, the whole spine. Yeah. But I guess he's not for example, he's not the Cleary of the spine. So if Cody Walker's not there, so right now with Cody Walker at his best, yes, he's the answer. But if Cody Walker isn't there, does he have enough to be a top tier partnership? That's the question I have: is who are you going to pair him with for the next 5 to 6 years? That's the concern I have because Cody Walker had a bit of a quiet game, not great game on the weekend, not bad, but also not great as well. And I just wonder, is he going around again next year? Will he stay on the field? So that's where I hesitate as to, is he the main man to win a premiership?
Yeah, and I also, even if Cody Walker isn't there, I'd be interested to see Ashton Ward, what he's doing at the moment with, there's good players in this side, don't get me wrong, but when you put Latrell back into the side and all these other, Cam Murray, all these other strike players, when you give him all those weapons, I'd be very keen to see what he's capable of doing.
That's fair. And maybe, if Cody Walker isn't in the side, it gives him more opportunity to be the attacking tip of the spear. But I'm really intrigued to see, who's the long-term hooker? It seems like Mamazalis is essentially gone. You've got Cheese that plays there sporadically for 20 minutes. So that's the question I have. And then you got Dufty who's there, but defensively, again, a few weeks ago, he seemed like he had those defensive things sorted. Last couple of weeks, defensively not been great. Then you got Jai Gray. I'm so unsure about the main important piece of the Rabbitohs puzzle, what it's going to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the one guy that has been the most consistent and reliable out of all of them, funnily enough, is Ashton Ward. I do think Cody was very poor outside of a 40-20 by his standards. That Harbour Bridge pass he threw at one stage straight out the sideline. You'll see him often over the years. Cody will sometimes come up with errors where the pass is a little off, but the option was there, or you know what I mean. He just seems pretty off the mark at the moment. But Ashton Ward came up with some massive plays both sides of the ball. So I don't know if they're going to explore Latrell moving there. Jai Gray came through as a 5'8", but I don't know if you'd want him in the line.
Is it too small? Is Ward's small as well?
That's what I mean. So I don't know if they'd back Jai Gray to be in the line, but when they signed him, it was as a 6. So,
I'll tell you what, you'd get fast moving half pairing if you had Jai Gray and Ashton Ward, because Ashton Ward is quick off the mark. First 10 metres, super quick. He's so talented.
I also wonder if you'll see Humphreys stick around after all that. But now that the writing's on the wall that he's not going to be their 7, but he's also not going to be the Perth 7. So maybe he steps in and plays that 9 role. Talking of injuries, devastating for Cheese. He's been playing there sporadically, played a lot of middle on the weekend too before he got injured. But seeing him get injured, obviously he scored that good try. Just starting to find the form that we remember. So
he's just struggled to get on the field. Now speaking of guns going forward that unfortunately, they won't be at the club, but absolutely guns in regards to the Rabbitohs season. It's Colin Matangi, ankle tap on Trent Tolau, essentially won the game. And that was just all effort. And you probably don't, yes, he does get credit for our amount of work he gets through, but he probably isn't credited with the battler tag in regards to these 1%ers and doing, the service stuff for your team. It's Cam Murray obviously gets a lot of those praises, and rightly so. But you got to think of Keon's last few years. Like, in his perfect world, he wants to be an edge back rower. But he said, the team needs me in the middle. I'm going to go in the middle. And he's been chopped and changed between middle and edge. And you could argue, probably cost him an Origin jersey. Like, when you think about it. If he stays on the edge or in the middle, he may have done enough to get a spot. But because he didn't get enough games to kind of build it up, but he's done everything the team has needed. And that play, that ankle tap, that won him the game. And that's a front rower that got through how many fucking meters and tackles and everything?
143 run meters for Keon and 40 tackles in this game.
80 minutes.
Yeah. I think the other thing with Keon is, mate, that he's leaving at the end of the year and you're just not getting that much chat around it, because I think there's essentially one dude in the history of the game that could replace Keon that you're probably will be okay.
Yeah.
And it's Payne Haas.
Yeah.
It just happens to be the guy that's arriving there. He is going to be enormous for the Dragons
tell
next
me
season.
another player that can put up Origin level edge back row play, and also Origin level middle. You're looking at Cam Murray, probably Isaiah Yeo. There's not many players. Where Keon just doesn't get the credit he deserves. And also, during last year, all the injury crises that the Rabbitohs have had, Keon has been essentially your best player and stayed on the field as well. And I just don't think he gets the credit he deserves. And I think that ankle tap, at least, I'm sure Rabbitohs fans love him, but yeah, that ankle tap was big. That was big.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a big deciding factor for both teams. The World Cup at the end of the year, whether he plays for the Kangaroos or Tonga, that is going to be a huge swing either way for those two sides.
Yep. Yeah, that's fair. So, guys, that's all proudly brought to you by Aspley Mazda. If you need a car, give Lukey a message or give him a follow on Instagram, LDC_01. We are going to ring the winner of the Yowie, Alex Glenn and myself going to the Knights game at Suncorp with a suite. We're going to ring the winner this week. So stay tuned for that. I cannot wait. And so, they'll be coming to a game with us, them and a friend coming to a game. And then Lexi's going to take them down into the locker rooms to meet the playing group. So once in a lifetime opportunity, we're going to ring the winner this week. But if you need a car, guys, Lukey's the best. They've actually just launched the new Mazda 6E, which is an electric car. Hopefully Lukey lets me drive one. I want to see what they're like. And obviously the new CX-5 has come out as well. Plus they got a bunch of X-rentals that are honestly, they drive like they're brand new. They've just been rented for a little period, but they're much cheaper. So make sure if you need a car, Aspley Mazda is the way to go. Doesn't matter where you are in Australia, give them a message and they can direct you in the right direction.
Probably might be the perfect segue to the Melbourne Storm, but you mentioned Ash Ward before. I know I've mentioned it before, but I still find it incredibly impressive. Ash Ward from Gerringong, population of 4,000 people down there. Tyrant Wishart played on the halves on the other side of the park. For a town of 4,000 people to produce two NRL halves that played against each other, neither of them playing for the Dragons as well, the local team. Souths and Melbourne, two incredibly important clubs in the history of the game. Fuck, that's a good knock from the Gerringong Lions.
It's almost like it shouldn't be possible.
It shouldn't be possible, no.
It's crazy.
No. They uploaded a thing the other day of a grand final from a couple of years ago, and they had, I think it was Hamish Stewart was the ball boy. In the background of one of the photos, you could see Ruben Garrick on the piss with his mates in the grandstand. Just live and breathe rugby league there.
How good. You're right, mate. It's incredible. Absolutely incredible. Now, before we move on from Rabbitohs, though, Matt Duffy. Wayne made a huge call. Jai Gray, not an aside. Yes, Duffy runs for a lot of meters, 304, 101 post contact, but defensively has some concerns. What do we do with Jai Gray? Apparently killed it in New South Wales Cup.
Absolutely tore it up in New South Wales Cup at Redfern Oval the other day. It's a conversation they're going to have. He ran for 200 metres, 2 line break assists, 1 try assist, 8 tackle breaks in that game, and he was just everywhere. I can't believe Jai Gray's not playing first grade.
I hate to bring it back to the Doueihi situation, but we're talking about all these guns that aren't getting selected or playing out of position. You know what I mean? It's just a common, it's a common chat that we've had. Nat Butcher, for example, we think, I'm sorry to bring it back to top, but it's It's an outrage. It's outrageous when you think about it.
Yep.
Jai Gray's sitting in reserve grade. Haven't heard a peep. All good. Look, the worry I have now, I don't think Jai Gray's this kind of guy, but you don't want to leave him in reserve grade for too long because he's too good for reserve grade. And there will come a time where he says, guys, I love this club, but I'm not playing reserve grade for the rest of my career. Especially for a guy that's been brought back from Super League and he's probably got 2 or 3 of these left in him.
Yeah. And Jai Gray, who was a guy that was leading the Dally M's halfway through last year.
So I personally, with those defensive last 2 games, I'd be bringing Jai Gray back in. But what would you guys be doing?
Yeah, I'd probably be. I found it very strange when he was left out of the side in the first place. I couldn't really work it out. I know he had a couple of injuries earlier in the year, but I don't think he's really let him down. And particularly with guys like Mitchell out of the side, I think he gives him some much needed kind of spark and, helps take a little bit of creative load off Cody Walker as well. So, Dufty's had some good games as well. I don't think he's let himself down too much. But of the 2, I'd probably think Jai Gray's, yeah. If I'm in opposition, I'd probably less like to see Jai Gray out there on the field opposite me.
Is this a strict playing ability sort of thing? You've been under Wayne. Is this him trying to get something out of Jai Gray? Is this a...
Oh, yeah. Like, he is not beyond dropping a guy because he wants to go on a finals run and get the best out of him. Like, absolutely, Wayne can play those games. The problem is like, you don't know whether it is a game or it's genuinely, you just don't know. Like, does he not, did he not select me in my good year because he was trying to put a rocket up me? I don't know. Maybe not. But it's not above him to do something like that. I just think, like, it's just risky. It's a different generation, like, you can kind of get away with that back in the day, and Wayne can still get away with it. It's Wayne, but I wouldn't be leaving him in New South Wales Cup too long because, like, he's just too good to play New South Wales Cup. What do you reckon, Tommy Bond? What would you be doing?
Am I remembering it wrong, or like have most of their, like, I'm reading it here, it says he's had 6 try assists and 5 line break assists this year. I've felt like every time that South looks exciting in the first half of the year, it was because of Jai outside of when he was injured. So, yeah, I find it a bit bizarre. Like, maybe it is like a bit of a try and get a reaction out of him, putting in a guy that's a bit older that he knows probably isn't a long-term solution that he has to compete with, but short-term it'll hurt a bit and maybe motivate him. But, like, I don't know. Yeah, I feel like he was sort of the spark that they needed for most of the first half
The only thing I'd say from Wayne's perspective is Dufty's ball playing is a little bit better. And initially the I won't say excuse, the reason was Cody Walker's out, and so Dufty is being selected because he can ball play a little bit better and take some load off Ward's shoulders. I guess, is him being a little bit better ball player worth the defensive lapses that he seems to have?
Yeah, I don't know if it is. I don't know if you got that luxury at the moment.
Back as well.
Especially when you got like the 2, we got Ashton Wood and the halves, where the main knock on him is that defensively teams can try and go at him. And I think he's really stood up and started to push back against that narrative a bit. I don't. If I'm a team in the top 8 and they end up making the top 8, I'm a lot more nervous if Jai Gray's on the field.
What are you doing, Roo?
Sorry, was that why they brought him in? Because Cody
Initially,
Walker was out?
Matty.
Didn't
That's what
he
said.
get
No,
sat
but if he-
against the Cowboys? Sorry, didn't...
No, I'm pretty sure Wayne said. Can you Google it? I'm pretty sure Wayne actually said.
Okay,
We were
Jai
just-
was injured in that Cowboys game? Okay, yeah,
No,
right,
but
okay.
the one game against the Knights, I think, and Cody Walker didn't play. I think Wayne said that was the reason. I think.
Yeah. Which is fair. Like, Matt Dufty's ball playing is much better than Jai Gray's. I don't think there's any question around that. But I don't know. I just feel like there's little things that Jai Gray brings to a footy side that I would like to have a part of.
I guess we'll see.
This week's crucial against the Sharkies.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Okay. On to the Storm. Silfa is a joke. He is a cheat code. Now, I know that last little play where he hit his foot or went out or whatever, but that try that he scored, that was a one-off hit-up. And it wasn't even like a one-off hit-up where their defence was like there was all these holes and, someone didn't get it back at A or they went the wrong side. Like, it wasn't a set line, but he had to, like, ping-pong through 3 or 4 different dudes, break the line, and then just absolutely done Dufty like a dinner. Unbelievable in a way. See you later. Look, I know Dufty never would have got him. I just hate the optics of, like, not continuing to chase. I hate those optics. But Fa'alongo he's the closest thing I've seen to Preston Campbell in regards to, like, footwork, the ability to change angle on a dime. He is just unbelievable.
Yeah, I think when he's got a long way to go in his career, but just off the early parts, fuck, it's going to be one hell of a highlights reel.
Mate, it'll go for 3 hours.
Like it's going to be like a PlayStation game kind of vibe. Like it is, with the chips over the top moments he's already had. That try will always be a part of it. That one that he scored on the weekend. And once again, like as much as Dufty might not be the best defensive fullback of all time, like he's fucking lightning.
Yeah,
it's hard to it's tough to wrong foot him like that and make him look.
Well, he's
silly.
a small fullback, just like far longer. So it's not like he's wrong footing Latrell, who's a big boy.
Yes.
Fucking unbelievable.
He's a freak. I think you went through your numbers the other day that he's essentially one line break per game. I think he's kept that
More
up.
than that. Yep.
And I think you got to remember as well that he's doing this in, like I'd argue Melbourne's worst year in 25.
Oh, mate, 100%. And also, like, I'd argue without him, they lose way more games this year.
Yes,
Definitely.
Like, he has been, like, Hughes has been pretty quiet. Munster, been quiet. Harry Grant has had good weeks, but he's been a little bit quiet at times too. Granted, he's injured now. He's injured. But, like, it's far longer.
Yeah.
He's been the star this year for them.
And once again, one line break per game is it's good, but it's you're probably playing for Melbourne. Yeah, okay, well they win the ruck every time they're on the front foot. They're never on the front foot.
No, it's literally
They've won a handful of rucks this year.
Yeah, 100%. He has been fucking unbelievable. Seriously unbelievable. Look, Storm, once again, you've got to give them credit. Fought their absolute backsides off. Boys, what did you think of Storm before we move on?
Stefano, I thought ripped in. He's had a couple of good weeks back to back now, like pretty much the full package, sort of origin quality. Stefano, 150 metres, 63 post contacts. He had a try assist, 36 tackles, none missed in the middle as well. I just reckon, last month or so, even though they haven't been getting the results, he's been pretty impressive.
Yeah, I've got to say, like, I want to give him a lot of credit, Stefano, because, like, there was a question around, like, if we're being fair, Dinkin, probably his grit and determination. We looked at him at the Tigers and said, there's a big boy there with all the talent in the world, but does he have the mental capacity to actually fulfill that potential? And I think if you had to put a market out of, like, bet whether he will or he won't, I reckon probably 80% of people
I was
said,
putting everything on he won't.
He won't.
I'm so impressed with how and the player he has become. He is a proper premier front rower. I cannot believe during the Origin series there was no chat about him not being there. Like you're having all this chat about these players that missed out and everything. Stefano's done more than most of them. He's been there before. He was never even in the frame.
Yeah. And I think that it's one thing to have a great year at the Melbourne Storm when you make a grand final, but to do it when the club is on its knees, that's another thing. In the front row where you are truly just creating all the momentum. And also, like, no disrespect to the rest of the pack. They've been okay at times, but really on his own back.
No, he's been the guy.
Yeah, hasn't had much help.
Yeah, and that's, I think part of that also comes down to roster management, realistically, by the Melbourne Storm. He set up a great try for Oren Keeley, boys, who I think has been fucking outstanding.
Yeah.
Since arriving there.
Yep.
He worked so hard the other day, 19 runs for 177 run meters. He obviously scored the try, 38 tackles. He had 3 offloads in that as well. He was doing this in Q Cup before he came down, playing on an edge. He's come straight in. If you have a look at this, you're now picking 19-man benches. They're huge sides. Like, Sean Blaw's not even in the squad anymore. He played Cup on the weekend. He's
been linked to the Broncos as well, so he could be on his way out.
I would suggest by looking at that, the Melbourne Storm are telling you Sean Blaw won't be there next year if they're not even picking him in the 19. But Oren Keeley, they'd signed him for next year. They already had their eyes on him anyway. But, I think he's been a really good get for them. He's going to be a really good player into the future.
It shows you how stacked the Dolphins forward pack is when a bloke like that, they're like, yeah, you can leave it. Like, unbelievable. On the weekend, 19 runs, 177 metres, 77 post contact, 2 tackle breaks, 3 offloads, 38 tackles on an edge.
And, mate, the week before, he was doing the exact same thing, but someone got injured in the Melbourne Storm backline. He had to move. Will Warbrick got injured, so he moved to centre.
Yep.
And his stats just stopped after that because he was one wider. But he is a workhorse, Oren Keeley.
Yep. I'm loving what I'm seeing there. Cooper Clark, again, solid. Josh King, solid. Look, I thought Wishy was good as well. But, yeah, just a tough year, to be honest. Look, their edge defence, I don't think it's a Storm system problem. I think there's just been so many changes to that edge. Like, for example, Cooper Clark and Oren Keeley, like, they wouldn't have even been on in the top 25. At the start of the season, if you said top 25 of what our squad will be and who will be our backup edges or whatever, they wouldn't have even been in that picture. And they've had so many changes because obviously Katoa is injured and all the other injuries they've had that I do think it's a mixture of, yes, the edges have to be responsible for their reads, but At the same time, when your four ins are constantly changing, it's very hard to get a system going and working there.
Yeah, but I mean, the Edges have been like this for 2 years, though. Like not as bad as this year, but they struggled last year as well.
I would argue, though, that the Katoa edge was pretty good when he was there for a long period of time. The other edge has chopped and changed a fair bit last year.
Yeah, fair.
But again, I'm not taking, you're right, like I'm not taking accountability away from the reads that come. But like, for example, Meaney's off, Howarth, they want to move on. Moses Leo between centre and wing. Like, it is tough, but you're right. They have struggled to nail down those edges.
So the other one, obviously, Nick Meaney's going over to Perth next year, which I think from a Melbourne point of view, it might be the right time for Nick Meaney to go, so personally. The one they're going to miss is Tyron Wishart, though.
Yeah,
as soon as you have a problem at 5'8", halfback, centre, hooker or lock, Tyron Wishart fills a spot.
Yeah. Just quickly back to the edge thing as well. I personally think that they haven't fully recovered from the loss of Kaufusi and Bromwich. I think they had them on the edge for so long at 4 that they are still struggling to find. Now, obviously, they've got Katoa that, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
But at the moment, like, who are the edge back rows heading into next year for the Storm?
Yeah, well, you're probably looking at Oren Keeley and I don't know, because that's the other thing as
Cooper's
well.
a middle. Cooper Clark's
he's a middle, without a doubt he is. Yeah, he's done a good job. But even like the guys, and you know, I'm watching them week in, week out in reserve grade, like your Preston Collins, your Angus Hinches, these guys that play those roles as well, like probably haven't jumped out of the ground like I thought they would. They're playing good footy. But I would have assumed one of them, you would have been going, oh, fuck, who'll be an Origin Smokey in 2 or 3. Like they just haven't had, like if Oren Keeley hadn't arrived, if the Dolphins would have gone, no, we're holding him. It's in some trouble.
Yep. Now, just quickly with the Munster situation. Now, permission to speak to PNG before November 1. I don't understand it. Why do they need permission early when he can just speak to them on November 1? And then the club has come out and said they've offered him a 2-year extension pass to 29. I've got to be honest, I just don't believe it. I don't believe it. I think that what's happening right now is they are trying to, again, guys, pure speculation. No, just fast forward if you don't want to hear it. It's just my speculation. I think they're trying to get Munster a good deal by presenting that they're keen to keep him, because you do not tell a bloke you've got permission to speak to this club, but also we're offering you a 2-year deal. Come on.
When I saw your content come out the other day with TJ, I almost did hit the fast forward. And then I watched it and I thought, fuck, that actually is an interesting one, isn't it?
Well, why does he need it to speak to PNG early? And then also, why do they, like they offered him a 2-year extension already?
You know what I think is interesting too, and I'm not sure if you said this in your reel the other day, but like Melbourne have a bye in, I think, 3 or 4 weeks that they got a bye in round 24. So they got a bye in 2 weeks that, you know, you could have sorted this all out then. I also think it's interesting, tinfoil hat, wherever it is. Guess where the Melbourne Storm play in 2 weeks' time? Perth.
Oh, fuck. See, there you go. You're adding to the conspiracy. It's building the pressure to get the deal done. They want a big deal. They want an extra few $100,000, but Perth is sitting there going, hey, bro, there's no one else that's keen on you for this much money. We're happy to give you 1.2, whatever it is. That's the only thing that makes sense. Like, the club coming, like, look, I understand. Look, I do believe Bellyache truly does believe, like, he's done a lot for the club. I'm happy with. But, bro, clubs aren't in this for, like, happy-go-lucky. Yeah, mate, you just go do your thing. They're in it to win comps.
Yep.
And if they wanted him at the club to win a comp, they would not be sitting here saying, here's a 2-year deal, but also you can go and speak to PNG. I just don't buy it, man.
Yeah. I think the other thing I heard Braith talking about it the other day on podcasts or shows, something he was on, he was sort of saying, oh, you know, we didn't feel a need to go to PNG. I'm like, what? Why in fuck's name would you, if you're seriously interested in going there, that you wouldn't go and have a tour? Even to add another layer to it, boys, like, as I said, they got a buy in 2 weeks. They could be organising to go to PNG there to have a look. I mean, like, they played in Sydney this week. He was already outside of Melbourne. They played on Friday night. As if you were serious about this, you get on a plane Saturday morning, you go to PNG, you're back Monday for training.
Yes.
It doesn't make sense. And I think the lining up with them literally playing in Perth in 2 weeks' time, then going into a bye is perfect.
See? It's all adding up, Tommy.
Wasn't as stupid as we made it sound.
And I know Storm fans, oh, hang on a sec, we've offered him a 2-year extension. Like, why? If that is true, why? Like, that is just pure PR. Like,
well, it's optics. I mean, it's so that they can say that they don't, well, they don't have to say that they don't want a club legend anymore. It's like, here's a deal if you want it. He doesn't want it. Thanks for everything. All the best.
Here's the deal. It's
And I
$1
think
a year.
Craig even alluded to that when he spoke about it the other day. Like he actually said, we'd all be happy to let him go. Then he pulled it back. He
Yeah.
said, no, actually, I should say I'd be happy to let him go. I don't know what the... So I think it's just a bit of an optics battle. Once again, I think this is a...
I actually do respect the Storm for doing it because they
Fucking oath,
actually
yes.
are taking care of Munster
100% they
on
are.
his way out. So it's not a
Yeah.
crack at Storm. It's just like, I just feel like it doesn't add up, to be honest.
No, it doesn't add up. I agree with you.
Okay, on to the next game.
Here we go.
We've already pretty much spoken about the Tigers. Probably the Raiders and move on.
Nah.
Emergency alert coming in 1 hour. Got 5 games to get through. Better get through this one as quick as we can.
Okay, Raiders defeat the West Tigers 56-10. The Raiders ran in 10 tries. It was a true cheek clapping.
Wayward goal kicking.
The Raiders clapped the Tigers' cheeks after the Tigers stole their Viking clap. The Raiders gave the Tigers the clap.
Yes.
They got pounded into the core of the earth. Look, I like the demeanour I guess the Tigers came out with. Let's spread the ball a little bit. Let's try things. But unfortunately, across the board, most players didn't have a great game. And unfortunately, they got up against the Raiders who are fucking red hot right now with a number 7 that's ripping. Strange also ripping. The Raiders are looking good, really good. I think that right now, I reckon they might make a charge for the Raiders. I really do like the way they're playing. What do you think of this one, Roo?
I thought Ethan Sanders was outstanding
Yeah.
in this game. I think it was the best game of his career. I think Ricky Stewart, I know I've said it the last few weeks when it comes to Owen Paddy and a few other guys, Sanders included. I just think the patience he has shown with this side, has it maybe cost them a finishing 7th or 8th this year? And
They weren't going to win the comp.
they weren't going to win the fucking comp. Let's be honest here. I think I think Ricky has decided it is going to be short-term pain for long-term gain here, and I think you're starting to see the fruits of that now. And I thought Sanders, when you have a look at the game that he played on the weekend, and if you were to make him a silhouette on the field, the way he was running the football, you go, oh, it's like Strangey.
Yeah.
And this guy is just, we looked at him as just an organising sort of halfback for the first half of the season. Now he's starting to run the ball, take them on. He is so much further ahead than what I thought he'd be this season.
You know what? Well, it is, and you basically said this as well, but like a coach, not just like publicly saying the words of backing him, because often we see coaches, back him all the way in, but you can see the way the season is panning out, that the coach is absolutely not backing him in. He's getting a bit worried about it. I think this is evidence of a coach truly to the absolute T backing in a number 7 and saying, this is your jersey for the entire season, and our forward pack, it is their responsibility to let you play well.
Yep.
Instead of going vice versa, they're not playing well. Who's the first person I look at? I look at the number 7. Instead, Ricky Stewart said, no, I'm looking at the forward pack that's not giving him the right go forward. And all of a sudden, Sanders comes out the other end and it's been phenomenal. And he has truly been backed. I swear to God, the amount of times I see, you can tell coaches don't even believe what they're saying when they're backing a young 7. You can kind of feel it. With Ricky Stewart, there was not even a hint. And this is coming from someone that said maybe they should rest Sanders a little bit just to take him out of the spotlight when there were, the pressure was building and building and building. And Ricky Stewart didn't even blink.
Yeah, and in the preseason when he went and signed Kobe Black, I took that as, okay, that's a nod he's not totally convinced on Ethan Sanders.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, Kobe Black's, he's been playing unreal in reserve grade, doing great things. He sat on the 6-man bench a couple of times, but I think it's also just got the absolute best out of Ethan Sanders.
Yep.
There is another guy there.
And it's like they've got, out of every single club, including Penrith, you could argue they have the best young halves in the competition.
Yep.
Which is insane to think about when you consider how hard it is to recruit for the Raiders. Like, look, it's just a few games, but I tell you what, if this does pay off, I hope Ricky Stewart and the Raiders get the credit they deserve, because there are very few clubs that will create an environment to create where a coach felt comfortable enough to essentially, I want to say throw a season, because Ricky Stewart would never do that, but essentially go from minor premiers to go, okay, we're minor premiers, but can we win a comp?
Yeah.
And no, we can't. But I tell you what, in 4 or 5 years, we might be able to.
Yeah, and I think it is a nod to, is it harder for the Raiders to recruit players than most sides? I would argue yes.
Absolutely.
I think the proof is in the pudding
Yeah,
there.
fuck.
But what that also means is that because it's harder to get guys down there, when you got a guy like Ricky Stewart who you're confident he is your long-term coach, he's the guy, Ricky Stewart can actually sit back and go, okay, let's plan now for 28, 29, 30. If I'm Jason Riles, I'm trying to plan for the future, but I know I could lose my job in 6 months' time because
We're already seeing some Eels fans off him.
Yeah.
Off Ross.
I think there's a chance that part of this is him signing Jerome Luai going, fuck, I can't keep losing games or I won't stay here.
Yep.
Ricky Stewart knows he could go 0-26 this season and he'd be the head coach for next season without a doubt.
Yep.
So he's planning for the future. He's getting the best out of these guys. I don't want to put the boot into the West Tigers here, but you said it pre-show and I think it's very obvious, but I don't think it's really been spoken about. The Dane Laurie situation personifies differences in club cultures, that he is a fullback that has been told, just go and play 13. He comes on and scores 3 tries in the second half. Compare that to what's going on at the West Tigers, and it just shows what Ricky Stewart is building down there. Me personally,
Because he's
Dane
got
Laurie,
guys buying in to play 13 for him. That's pretty.
Tigers club legend
Yeah,
as well,
that.
which probably hurts a little more.
He is Tigers club legend.
but like when Dane Laurie signed with the Raiders, I genuinely went, what are you doing? Why?
Yeah. How are you going to get into this side?
How are you going to get into this side?
Yeah. Yep. You got
Like you
Chevy
couldn't get
Stewart
into
there,
the
you got-
Panthers side, understandably, but you're actually going to a side that it might be harder to get into in a weird way. With the
Ironically,
players they've got.
it's a club the Tigers. It's a player the Tigers brushed as well.
Yep.
Like Dane Laurie is a guy that won Player of the Year 1 year, the next year not what we want, and clearly he's a culture guy because he's willing to play. He has no right playing 13. I can't express to you enough. If you'd have said a bloke that size playing 13 10 years ago, you'd have been laughed out of the room. And he scored a hattie.
Yep.
Scored a hat trick. It's just fucking unbelievable. And yeah, like I'm with you. I don't want to put the boot into the Tigers, but it is a good reflection of different cultures of the
Yeah,
club.
and I think that once again, as much as I wholeheartedly disagree with what Adam Doueihi has done, the decision he's made, it does just comes back to the culture of the fucking issues. The club should be bigger than allowing people to, allowing for that thought to even occur.
Yeah, and it's just how ironic is the footy gods to go. We're going to play the Raiders, and Dane Laurie's going to come on and score a hat trick at 13.
At 13. Used to play for your
Dane Laurie, the same guy that he's the only other player in the history of the league that's been caught celebrating another team's premiership victory in their jersey whilst contracted to another team.
Oh,
But you get him
God.
down there in Canberra, he's fucking all in.
Yeah, it's tough. It's a tough one. It's
Sorry,
a tough one.
Hammy.
Yes.
So
No,
I'll go to you.
You will be.
I'll go to you first, mate. What do you think about this game?
About the Raiders or just
Whole game in general and the Raiders.
All right, whole game in general. Look, disappointing. Obviously, it was a bit of a shit show off the field, as we all know this week. And it bled onto the field, unfortunately. There was probably, I reckon, only 2 blokes that really ripped in or probably, gave a 8 or 9 out of 10 performance. I thought Paddy Herbert was great for the Tigers. He didn't give up, gave away a few penalties because he was going a bit hard, but I thought he really ripped in and kind of showed a little bit of intent. Sort of outside of him, I don't know, Twiley kind of had a go, but slim pickings beyond that. Just so many
But even
dumb mistakes and,
even
I
12.
know Jerome was left in there to kind of guide the young bloke around, but that might have been his worst game of the year. Kicking on the first tackle, 6 missed tackles. Not all his fault, but fair dinkum.
But even Twile and May, like that kick return that Sasangi had, like even that was out of character for them to not kick chase. He goes through the middle, they break a tackle. Like if you've got Alex Twile taking shortcuts, there's a problem because he's like the last person that is switching off in situations like that.
Yeah.
How many Tigers players do you reckon had errors in this game?
Nearly every single one.
4 of them. How bizarre is that?
That's crazy. It actually, you know what? You're right. They actually completed relatively high. They just got dominated through the middle. I understand. Look, I'm not saying Luai played well. I don't think he did. I think what Luai was thinking was we just need to fucking try everything. We're not going to beat these guys in a grind right now. And let's try everything and see what happens. But I just think that the forwards got absolutely... Their contact was poor. Their wrestle is poor. I actually spoke about this, I think, maybe a month ago. I'd love to know how much contract training they're doing at training because they just got completely rolled. Like they barely want to tackle. A lot of holes in their line. I don't know what to say. Like the problems now have gone from you got maybe a halves question to across the board. Like even in the forwards now is a bit of a question.
Yep, that's right. None of them cracked 100 metres in the forwards. So apart from Twile, got 102. But
here's an example, and maybe you've got so many injuries you had to play in. But like after Bunty Afoa's performance against the Dragons, was it? The Warriors.
Yeah, 150th.
How is he getting a start 2 weeks later after that performance? And that's on Benji. That's on Benji. Like that's a standard you can set and be like, mate, a performance like that essentially didn't even give us a chance to get into this game. I can't have you in this side until you've really proven, unless they've got so many injuries that he has to be there.
Well, I don't know. There's a few guys running around in reserve grade that are, you've got Tony Sakar, who's played there over the last few weeks. You've got Charlie Murray, who I still like. He had a bit of a shocker when he came into first grade a few weeks ago, to be fair. But
he's not an experienced player like Bunty. Like Bunty has played a lot of first grade.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yes. Yeah.
And so, like, I think that's when you can be critical of Benji, is like playing a guy that played like that the last time for the Tigers. You may as well blood a younger player. I do, as I said, I don't blame Benji for the Doueihi situation, but I do think there needs to be questions about some selections and also the standards dropping mid-year as far as they have.
So the other thing that frustrates me as well is that you go and have a look at, and I didn't watch the New South Wales Cup game. I believe it was after first grade,
It looked cold.
Yeah, it would have. Did you hang around and watch it by any chance?
No, first 20 minutes, that was about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What position do you reckon Makasini played?
What play?
Wing.
Okay. I don't know.
Like, that the backline that ran out in Cup, Heath Mason, Jarrell Skelton, Stafford Toa, and Makasini. Like, for Heath Mason, give or take mainly, but, 3 first graders there.
Yeah.
They got beat by 30 points.
But would you not double down on your club standards at the moment? Like, if you're willing to sort of show Luai the door, the whole Doueihi things happen. Like, Hammy, you're a Tigers fan. Was any part of you genuinely thinking you were a chance the other day? Like, in all honesty?
I was hopeful. I know Matty Johns was keen on us, wasn't he? He said a few times, he's like, I reckon there's something brewing here. But I was just hoping that the, one of the sharpest minds, there was some method to the madness. Unfortunately, didn't pan out that way. I always go into every game with like a little bit of hope and optimism, but it felt like it was going to be a tough trip down there, particularly given what had happened in the 48 hours leading into it.
I was just getting concerned about the middle though, because like the first 30 minutes, I think they doubled your run beaters. And what's crazy is what you said, Roo, is he actually didn't make that many errors.
No. I think the thing that worried me as well, and mate, I went into this game fully expecting the Raiders to put on a show, but there was part of me that thought, okay, if this is a Doueihi problem, and they genuinely, all these guys are all in on Benji, they'll show it in this performance. And they just got absolutely rolled.
I genuinely think that the standards have dropped. Like I would love to know, I would love to get their schedule for the week during the year, because we know at the very least,
Day off today apparently.
At the very least, we know their preseason is decent.
Yep.
Because they started the year so well.
And there was a documentary on it.
There was also a documentary.
Rising.
But like also just to double down on your point before, Kemby, like you spoke about how much they were dominated through the middle. I would argue they looked most dangerous off the back of Twal and Terrell May offloads. Like when they would go into the line, get a late offload, and then play sort of ad lib off the back of it. Like you could see that with the Ethan Roberts try. Like where do you go to from here? Like Buller had a lot of errors in this game. Like I know he had the nice pass on the Tavana
my
try.
concern. You know what my concern now with Buller is, and obviously we spoke about him. You know, he's close to $900K, $1 million, and needs to maybe inject himself a little bit more. I actually think there's a lack of pressure on his position. You look at Heath Mason as the backup fullback right now. Solid player. You know, bring him in, he can sometimes do a job. But I just think there might, because like right now, Buller, he's never getting dropped. You just couldn't.
Yeah,
not to say I'm dropping Buller. I'm just saying a lot of other clubs, you have red hot pressure on positions, and I look at Buller and I go, if he knew there was a chance that he was going to lose his spot, I reckon he'd be ripping. I reckon because he's got the talent. We know he's got the talent. But at the moment, there's no way he's getting dropped.
Yep, fair.
Who could you even move there? Like, isn't Heath with Heath Mason? Isn't he more a 9 that can play fullback, or is he the other way around?
6 plays a bit of 6.
Right, but he's not primarily a fullback.
Nah, and they target that.
So like, yeah, there's no one that you can put in there for him. I also thought they did such a good job, Canberra, at getting at Andrews, who I thought like did his best to show a jersey. But even like on that Ethan Strange try, where sort of he makes a legs tackle, quick play the ball, then Strange skips across and scores. Like they really did a good job at getting in him.
What's hard about that, and actually Joey Walsh struggled with the same problems with Andrews, is like, and look, maybe he was told this, but I just reckon with a young 7 or a half, I reckon the direction from the coach needs to be just always take the lead. If we get scored out there, we'll get scored out there. Because like I just think a lot of 7s that come into the first grade, if you overload their mind of like check out the back, worry about it or whatever, like they're they're bound to make the wrong decisions. Like imagine how much less line breaks they would have made on Andrews if he was told just to always take the lead runner. Let the edges make the tough calls for you. That negates at least 2 of the line breaks that he had on him.
Yeah, but it's hard when you're like new centers and wingers every week. Like even you made the point before about
I mean, that's a
Mancini.
Benji.
Like, yeah.
And he also, like, what's bizarre is, like, he chooses this time to drop Mancini when he could have done it ages ago. So
And
he
not a
doesn't have his
follow-up.
confidence destroyed.
Like if it's about like here's the door and standards, like what Doueihi's gonna be back at training tomorrow by the sounds of it, and like
Allegedly.
let's all pretend it never happened. And fucking Bunty Afoa, who despite them getting dominated in that Wars game, would have actually been in the game, potentially in the lead at halftime had it not been for that sin bin. Like,
And he's letting him back in. And I said Mancini, put him in New South Wales Cup ages ago. Now his confidence is shot. He's sitting in reserve grade. Like I do, although as I said, I feel sorry for the Tigers in the Doueihi situation. I just think there's been some decisions from Benji this year I just can't make sense of. Like, for example, can we all honestly sit here and say, what position is Mancini? Like, not what we think he is.
But I mean, mate,
what is he?
Yeah, like there's been questionable decisions by Benji. Like, sorry, is Benji the most inexperienced coach in the history of the game? Like, really, when you look at what he did to get into a coaching role there, like everyone's like, oh, he's been the coach. Like he spent a year under Tim Sheens, was
Not
it?
even.
Half a year, wasn't it?
Half a year. Like,
it was a 5 year.
let's be
plan.
fucking
It was
honest
meant
here.
to be
He was the
2.
coach.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
was the coach. Tim Sheens was just doing the press conferences. Like, he's never been to any other system. He's never seen how anything else works from a coaching point of view. And then after a year, you re-sign him on a 3 or 4 year deal as well. Like, it's like you kind of make your own bed to some extent.
And also, like, look, I still don't agree with the way Doueihi handled things. But, like, was this the game to debut a young fella when your season's still alive? Like,
Well,
surely you
yeah.
wait until...
Well, I think though that what maybe forced the hand on this was that Doueihi was going to be suspended.
But surely you wait. You know, you wait to make that call.
Well, just having a
Try to
look.
give him the best chance. Like, just prepare all week as though you're playing. And
Yeah.
then if you are, hopefully it's a bit easier than if we tell you on Thursday after the judiciary, you got to come in and
And that happens all the time. Mate, you might be in, but we'll let you know.
Hard if you got
To be
Monday off.
fair though, Latu didn't play reserve grade. Who's your other halfback? Jock didn't play reserve grade. So like, they didn't really have many other.
But like a more experienced coach, I think, would have said, mate, you might be in here. We'll see how we go at the judiciary. You know what I'm saying? But and then if you get overturned, I just think, like, for example, this week, if you say, if Doueihi's still there or whatever, let's negate that. Let's just assume Doueihi's still there. I could understand if they said, Luai, you're on the 19-man bench.
Yep.
Because you can't make the finals anymore. It's just a little bit of a weird week to pull the trigger, especially after Doueihi got off.
And haven't they re-signed Jock Madden, or are they still talking? to
Yeah, I
him
think they
about that?
re-signed him.
I think he's sticking around.
Like to re-sign him, you're not playing him at the moment. You say he didn't play cup.
No.
Like, what are you doing?
Well, I don't know. To debut on such a week, I feel like a more experienced coach would have seen, like, there's a chance Doueihi gets off. We don't know for sure. And hey, mate, if he doesn't get off, you're in. And then, yeah, you go from there.
But are you not going to have Jake Averillo come in who you're paying 5'8" money next year? Jock
Well,
Madden,
apparently, by all reports, he's more of a centre.
Yeah. He'll probably start in centres.
Like, but, okay, even if he is a centre, like Jock Madden, he was like your key playmaker at the start of the year when you were going well. Like I know along with Doueihi, but given Doueihi runs the ball so much, like Jock did a lot of like the 7 stuff. Like, why are you not playing him? Like, what are you debuting another guy at the expense of him?
Was Jock Madden
Especially-
injured?
Yeah, well, he wasn't available by the looks of it. He didn't play reserve grade. So that's the other thing as well, mate. Like, I'm sure there was part of Benji that went, okay, I want to get Andrews into first grade. I'm going to pick him this week. Maybe Adam doesn't play. He does end up playing if he does. I'll just ask Adam to move to his second best fucking position and he'll do what's best for the side.
His
Well,
best position.
and I spoke. You're right, because I spoke about this when this all happened. Benji's sitting there going, okay, what's the best environment for a debutant? It's having Luai and Doueihi on the field at the same time, so that, like, for example, look how cushioned Blaze Talangi has been at the Panthers. I'll tell you why. Because every week it's Nathan Cleary and Isaiah Yeo running that team with Dylan Edwards.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure Benji was sitting there going, you know, let's put Alex Twal for the first 20 minutes to get through the tackling and everything, so make sure that Doueihi's body holds up. We bring Doueihi on. He can take care of running the team, and then Andrews can just chime in when he wants to. Like, and I actually read a report that he was actually even going to defend at 3 as well. Doueihi was. Now, I don't know how that would all work, but I think that's what Benji was thinking. But yeah, I don't know. I just think there's some decisions Benji's have made that's just like I don't.
Yeah,
get
and I also think in Benji's defense, like if you're trying to get Andrews into first grade, like I would want him learning off Jerome.
Yeah, absolutely.
With all due respect to Doueihi, like he's not a guy you're going to bring through to develop halves. He's working out to be a half himself.
Yeah, no, I can understand the thought process of Benji for sure. I just wonder whether that decision happened a week later.
Yeah.
You go down to Raiders, you get beaten, and you go, okay, we're looking towards next season because like for a debut, he was thrown in the deep end massively, against a rampaging Raiders side. But there were moments to like. Just like any young half, sometimes defense it takes a little bit to learn. So he'll be fine, Andrews. He looks like a real talent.
And congratulations to him on his NRL debut. It was a shit fight of a week, but achieving something enormous there. And shout out to Ethan Roberts as well, who scored his first NRL try.
Off the nudie run.
Yeah.
I thought Andrews looked pretty good at times with the ball in his hand. A bit bigger than I thought he was. Good footwork, all that sort of stuff. So but there'll be better days where he's playing off the back of something and it'll be a lot easier.
All right, just quickly though, Raiders boys, do they make the 8?
I reckon them or the Dogs creep in.
So out of those two, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If them or the Dogs is going to creep in, who's falling out?
Well, Manly, I reckon's out.
Well, they're already
Rabbitohs,
out.
I reckon, might fall out.
Yeah, Bunnies are the one for me who are probably the team that could slide out.
And just quickly, Atta Mariota was outstanding.
He was fantastic.
I just love everything. Joseph Tarpner, he's been outstanding.
Whole Raiders spine. KO Weeks just killing it.
KO Weeks fucking absolutely electric. Simi Sasangi.
Freak.
Fuck. Where did this come from? Bro, if you had have told me 3 or 4 years ago that this guy will be at the same form as Herbie Farnworth, I would have said, what are you talking about? He's not even a centre. Bro, every time he plays for the Raiders, he's fucking unbelievable.
Take it a step further. If you would have told me he would be half as good as Herbie Farnworth, I would have fucking laughed at you. Like genuinely. Like we didn't even know what position he was.
Is he a Dalium Centre of the Year? I think he might be.
It might just be games out that might hold him back from it, but on form, yeah, I'd have him in my top.
Who
yeah.
else? Like Herbie's got one.
Herbie will be one.
Who else would you put in front of him this year? Kohler to start the year, but he's been there or thereabouts for a bit now.
Well, either of the Sharks boys, has K. Lero?
No, I don't reckon.
No, it's Sasangi.
Yep, I reckon he'd be the front runner. Sure.
He might be the Dalium Centre of the Year, and a year or two ago he wasn't even a fucking.
Tell you who
centre.
should be is Alamotti, but for whatever reason he won't be.
I would say Sasangi's played better than Alamotti, even though Alamotti's been great. I'd say Sasangi's played better. I think he's missed too many games. I would go Sasangi and Herbie Farnworth as my Dalium Centres of the Year. But obviously, when Latrell was playing, you get Player of the Year almost the way he was playing at the start of the season.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
Like that's unbelievable. He's
How many games did Simi miss? What was he out? Like 8?
Missed heaps.
He's missed half the season. So he'd be about the same as Latrell, wouldn't he?
He could end the season at what? About 15
Yeah, that's
games?
fair. Yeah.
Yeah, so he could end the season with playing about 15, 16 games. I mean, I would still have him as Dalium. I think he's been that freaking good when he's played, and there's no one else that's jumping out to me that has been as good, other than obviously.
I wonder if just like weight of runs just from being there every week, could Rob Toyer be in the conversation as well?
Maybe.
He could be.
Maybe.
I mean, he's missed, a handful? Like nothing crazy. I reckon Alamotti's actually like a really good chance, though. He hasn't really missed any games for them.
Has he been playing centre all year?
I'm pretty sure he has.
Yeah.
I think it's been him and McLean, and unless McLean, when
Yeah,
McLean's been injured.
fair,
Stags at times had some good.
Yeah, he started the year relatively well.
Yeah.
But anyway, okay, on to the next game. Okay, it is the Bulldogs versus the Warriors. The Bulldogs defeat the Wars 18-6. Let's just get straight into it. The Bushranger Battler of the Week. It's brought to you by Bushranger Power Equipment. Tough, reliable gear built for hard-working Aussies. Whether you're on the tools, on the land, or sorting the backyard on the weekend, Bushranger is built to get the job done. It's Stephen Crichton, battling through, honestly, multiple season-ending injuries, playing 6. Now, according to the Bulldogs, that's his role now, but I'd argue still out of position. He is everything you could ever want about a leader. even when he wasn't playing that well this season, he was putting everything on the line. You never heard once, my shoulder's gone, this is the injury I have, this is why I'm playing well. He never made any excuses, and he may have just wrangled the Bulldogs season back into top 8 position. He is unbelievable. I am still shocked at how good he is at 6. Like, I thought he could do a job, but he's actually his short kicking game's outstanding. His soft hand is really good. He's been doing some of the long kicking as well. I still think that needs a bit of work, but that's understandable. Mate, Stephen Crichton, he's a freak. He'll go down as one of the best of his generation. What a player.
Yeah, without a doubt. And I think, the more positions he plays and the more dominant he is in those positions. Like, you got to remember when he signed at Canterbury, we were all saying he, should be the fullback at this club as well. Now, if he moves into this 5'8" role, which might be a long-term thing, we'll wait and see. He's just incredible. That first try that he scored, I just want to give a shout-out to Viliame Kikau as well. Like, that offload.
Just like one hand.
Taking the absolute piss. But yeah, Critter, he's been amazing. I think, mate, they're 3 try scorers in this game. I think they just, personify what everything Canterbury's about. Critter, Preston, Kiraz, all just tough as nails, play through injuries, show up every single week. Great player, Critter.
He's channeling that Dogs of War mentality, the cultural cornerstone of that club. Dogs of War, it's amazing. And, I got to be honest, it's been a very strange year, but they're playing some fucking good footy. They smothered the Warriors, absolutely, especially that first half, just suffocated the life out of them. I think there is something to be said in Ciro's defence, and granted, I'm still not on board of Critter's the long-term 6. However, it seems like the club believes Galvin and Critter could be in the halves. Look, I wouldn't put it past them to be able to make it work, but I think there was a period where Ciraldo did make comment about how many 6 agains there were, and almost alluded to how it was affecting his defensive system. As we've seen the 6 agains come back, we've almost seen the Dogs start to kind of find their form again. And I wonder whether his system is so pinpoint, so specific, that it actually does rely on a certain amount of ball in play, a certain amount of 6 agains, because they are suffocating teams, and they were outstanding on the weekend.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say they've won a number of games over the last 5 or 6 weeks, but in a lot of them, I don't think they've been overly impressive.
Yes.
I think they've played poorly and won a number of games, which there's an argument that's a sign of a good team too. I think this is the first time in weeks I can remember, maybe since the Manly game, where I genuinely walked away going, okay, that's the Canterbury that I tipped to be in a grand final this year.
Yes. And West Tigers, they played well, but it was hard to kind of judge because the Tigers were struggling. There's a lot going on.
The Parramatta game, Parramatta had no ball whatsoever for the first half. They won by 2 points or something,
Whereas they just looked completely dominant in this game against the Warriors that should never get dominated. Should never, ever get dominated. Absolutely outstanding. What do you think, Tommy Bomb?
Yeah, their pack really stood up. I thought, you spoke about Crichton already. I really do hope, selfishly, as just a fan, and just the narrative around it, that they do try and give Critter a full preseason and play him at 6 next year. I think it'd be awesome. I also think that, they look so much better attack-wise when Jamin Salmon's at 13. I think he plays that link role best, and he still ran for 116 metres, but I think he does it without overplaying his hand. So I thought he had a great game. I just a couple times. The only time that the Warriors really got into contention at all and out of their own end was off the back of the Dogs' ill discipline, whether it be penalties or a couple drop balls. So to be saying that about the Warriors pack is incredible. So I remember that even that Manly game. It was the Para game that was the shit show, right? But the Manly game in its own way was a massive shit show as well. Manly should have won that game. So, for them to smother this Warriors team that's really trying to prove the point that they can capitalise and they can be premiership threats was enormous.
And it's a second big scalp. Panthers, when Panthers were killing it too, and I know Panthers didn't play well in that game. They got the Warriors now. That's 2 big scalps to get, in a season. Who stood out for you, mate, in the Doggies?
Yeah, well, I caught him out last week. I thought he was really good. Max King, I thought was great. And I think Leo Thompson, last couple of weeks, has probably started to get into his work a little bit. Maybe a little bit quieter early in the year, but the pair of those guys, no surprise that they're kind of, having success against some of these good teams because it's all starting in the middle third a little bit. So I think last couple of weeks, they've both been good against strong teams.
Do you think they make the 8, boys?
I reckon they can scrape in. 8.
I do.
Storm can't now. Tigers are gone. Broncos are gone. Raiders are the only one kind of, on the same spot. I think they do. I think they do make that. They're 1 win outside the 8 with the Rabbitohs on. The Rabbitohs are 6, but they've actually only got 10 wins.
Knights and Cowboys will go past them. So the Dogs and Manly and the Raiders are all one win
One
behind
win.
the Rabbitohs.
And Manly look on a slide. So really, it's the Raiders and the Dogs fighting for that.
They play
Last couple
South too
spots.
in a couple of weeks, which will be
Wow. 4-point game.
potentially the difference. Yeah.
Just looking at here. Yeah, so South and Manly are the two teams I'm looking at. Like I don't see the Knights dropping 2 games. I don't see the Cowboys. Cowboys looking quite good. So yeah, I guess we'll see.
Cowboys are smoky for the top 4 for me. Only
Mate,
one
they
win
look
out.
fucking. We'll get to them, but they look so good. Far out, they look good. But yeah, in regards to the Doggies, boys, I guess performances wise, what about Tuala's?
I was about to say, Mr. Underrated in this side. Does it every single week. I can't believe there was a period of time where they were sticking him on the wing and not picking him in this side. He is such a good footballer. I think he started at the Cowboys, then he went to the Newcastle Knights maybe, and you could tell there was talent there, but mate, just the work that he gets through.
Yeah,
I don't remember that being a part of his game when he was coming through.
he's not that big.
Not that big,
Yeah.
but he's just tough.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think he's also a reason why it pushes Critter more towards 6 because where do you find a spot for him in the side if Critter is at centre?
Yep.
You know, you'd have to drop. You've obviously got Kiraz one edge. Riddick-Karma's been outstanding. So you know what I mean? It does find it's hard to put him in there, but he's been so good. Kiraz good again as well. I thought Connor Tracy's effort plays were huge. Were really good this game.
Just on Anari Tuala, like it's a good example of, you know, I feel like before this year, probably people watching him were, he's a first grader, but nothing more. You know, like this is his 10th year of first grade.
No way.
Yeah, debuted in
years.
2017.
Jesus. That's
So it's not, you know, I think you get all these players into first grade, you expect them to microwave them in 10 seconds and they'll be fucking NRL players and elite
true.
and stars and all that sort of stuff. But, you know, the Knights were patient with him for a long time. Canterbury have brought him in. He was there last year. A lot of people probably wouldn't even fucking realise that. And now I'd argue, with Bronson going and Stephen Crichton playing 5'8", he's by far and away their best centre.
yeah. How many games has he played all up?
How many do you reckon he's played?
I'll say 100.
128.
Jeez. Good on him. Good on him. Yeah, so really good performance. I got to say, Kickow just looked energetic. I feel like we saw the leadership version of Kickow, like some other games Kickow can kind of fall into, I'm just a strike weapon. Like, give me the ball. I'll put something on for you. Whereas I feel like he's gotten to a point in his career where it's like, no, mate, like you need to impact games constantly. And just showed how much they miss him. And in the Dogs' defense, and I've been quite critical, but he was brought to the club and is a part of this squad as a bloke to create try-scoring opportunities, and he has been injured. So, to their defence, that's also a reason why they haven't been able to score many points before him coming back. Now, it's not like they scored 30 points or anything in this game, but they definitely look way more dangerous when he's on the field.
Without a doubt. I was actually I was on the plane home from Vegas with Viliame Kikau, and just seeing him walk around a plane.
Freaking huge.
Oh my God.
So big, bro.
Like a Godzilla movie. Like he's trying to fit between his turn. Like he is just absolutely enormous. People are getting things out of the tray above. He's just reaching straight out. Like he is such a big human.
You know
it's
what's
crazy.
Insane. So he's 195 centimeters. Xavier Willison is 10 centimeters taller and 10 kilos heavier.
Yeah, wow.
Oh, fuck. But yeah, great stuff from him. Look, I want to give Max King and Leo Thompson a lot of credit because haven't really got as much compliments this year. Now, Max King has had some injuries. Leo Thompson has been finding his way, obviously started the year injured. But I feel like they're building a really good combination. They've just put their heads down. They're not setting the world alight. They're not, Payne Haas or anything like that. But I tell you what, they're laying a pretty bloody good foundation over the last few weeks. I've got to leave him a lot of credit. I think Leo Thompson, he hasn't necessarily set the world alight, and I think he's been building towards this. But he's getting to the point where I go, okay, you know what? That's a good signing that's delivered impact to this squad at this stage of the season.
Yeah, I still think if he can do what I thought he was going to do for the back end of this season, he can still turn this around and be a fucking fantastic signing for them this year. But started on the weekend, it has to continue for the rest of the season.
Yeah, and I feel like he's been getting better each game. For the last 6 weeks, I feel like he's been slowly just improving.
Yeah, and I think you got to also remember with Leo Thompson, and I can understand all these guys are, first grades, all this sort of stuff, but you got to remember, lacked a preseason as well.
Yeah.
With that injury that he had.
Yeah.
coming
New
down
systems
there.
as well.
Yeah, all that sort of stuff. Serrato's another one, similar to Trent Robinson, except for this week, everything went their way as far as like a plan, no injuries, all that sort of stuff. Only used 3 of his interchanges again.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Look, I would love to see a roaring Bulldogs, head into finals footy. I really would. It'd be one of the great turnarounds because, yeah, it was looking like definitely diabolical for a period there where you were in this weird position where like they built this squad to win a comp. And then it was like, okay, if this squad keeps continuing like this, they're going to finish in the bottom 4. And it's not even a question of like, can this squad win a comp? It's like, oh my God, do we need to blow this up again? They've turned it around slowly but surely. And it's okay, let's see how we go. And then, build into next year. We give Critter a whole preseason at 6. I'm still not sure about the Critter at 6 long term, but you know what? I wouldn't put it past Critter. He's such a good athlete. And then who knows what they can do next year if they continue this upward trajectory.
Who would you say right now, and I know last week like they played the Tigers, whatever, Galvin on the weekend, I thought his running game looked really strong. He obviously linked up with his boy Jake Preston for that try as well. Who would you say out of the guys so far this year, who has he looked most comfortable and played his best footy with as his halves partner?
Probably
Sean O'Sullivan.
Sean O'Sullivan,
You still
I
think
guess.
Sean O'Sullivan?
Yeah, I
when
think...
you weigh up who they've played against as well?
Well, yeah, but it's hard to say because we haven't seen Sean O'Sullivan with him against these tougher teams. Look, he's definitely looked much more comfortable with Critter. I'll give you that. Like, Critter clearly is a big talker, and it helps Galvin just ease his mind. So, look, I'm not against it for sure. Like, I'm just more like I don't really. Critter is one of the best centers of his generation. Is he an out and out 6? It's still yet to be seen, and it feels very reactionary. It feels very much like. We'll put Critter at 6 because our season is fucking falling apart. Oh, shit, he's actually pretty good. Let's go with that. Doesn't feel like a measured, planned decision. However, sometimes these things aren't measured and aren't planned. Sometimes, Berrigan getting moved into that kind of 9 utility role at the Broncos, he was a centre before that. So maybe it's the right call.
Complete side note, Queensland Maroons Instagram page put up a highlights package of Sean Berrigan the other day. Go watch it.
Gun.
Do yourself a favour.
One of the best utilities ever.
Holy.
Gun. Absolute gun, Barrow. I used to drive this little red ute. You used to call it the Red Rocket. Great bloke. Anyway, I've got some very good memories with Sean Berrigan. I roomed with him when I was first ever named 18th man. And let's just say it was an interesting night. I'll just say that. Okay, on to the Wars. I've got to say, this has been coming. This has been coming, this loss. Like they've put together some wins, and yes, they're a very disciplined side and all that, but I feel like their form has kind of dropped a little bit over the last month of footy. I am getting increasingly concerned about, they had enough ball to score points, and I just wonder, Tomato Martin's been good, but is he a genuine 7 that can unlock a defence? Does he have that level of... Now, he's a really good 6. Don't get me wrong. Is he a good enough 6 to unlock a defence in a 6 role? I think he's good enough, but is he a 7 that can do all the little intent, like the stuff you don't see? And I felt like they really lacked that against the Dogs. They just kept turning them away. And to be honest, like a lot of the time they didn't look dangerous when they were attacking the Dogs' line. And I think when they get into finals footy, I'm a little bit concerned they don't have that genuine 7 to create that space for the outside men.
I think the Warriors they have to win this game against the Gold Coast Titans this weekend for me. As far as where they're sitting in this competition, they will still play finals footy, but I think, obviously, in my opinion, the Bulldogs were by far and away the better side in this game. 18 points to 6. I think it was a Mitch Barnett chip over the top or something late in this game. Like, Bulldogs were the better team.
Play.
Terrible play.
Sharp.
Fucking robbed.
Warriors the week before, 20-12 over the Dragons. They were better than the Dragons, but not much better. Pretty tight game, couple
And
of
they got a
controversial
lucky
calls.
call go their way. And Val Holmes escored as well.
Big time. So I think they need to bounce back. This is a must-win game for them against the Titans. I think if they lose this, they then go into a game against the Panthers the week after that as well. If they lose against the Titans, do you pull the Luke Metcalf trigger? I think you got to do something, don't they? Like I also think, I don't think it's all in the halves. I think they're missing Jackson Ford massively. I think that's become very, very evident. But I think they have to, if they lose this game against the Titans and they look poor again and their attack looks clunky, I think they got to pull the trigger somewhere.
It's just tough because defensively, look, if Metcalf can come in his defensive suite, then I think it's worth at least a Because look, you know what you're going to get with Tomato Martin and Harris Savita. And I sound like I'm being harsh on them. I actually think Tomato Martin's played quite well. It's just he's not a genuine 7. He's more of a 6 type player. If Metcalf's defense is solid, then I mean it's worth a shot. If they do lose to the Titans, I think it's worth a shot. If they lose to the Titans, that is.
They're also missing Roger too. Like we speak every week about their centers defensively. Like earlier in the year, he started on the wing a lot, but then they'd move him in. And he actually ended up playing a fair few games at center before he got injured, and I think he's short up at least one of the edges a little bit. So they've missed him too. But I reckon you give these halves guys the shot against the Panthers.
I got to say as well, like the completion rate was like genuinely not good enough in such a big game. Like you could even argue the completion rate was the difference to a degree, because 71% compared to 87, and actually the Dogs were sitting at like 94 or something like that for quite a long period in the game. I do think as well, so the first 30 minutes the Dogs were at a 94% completion rate. I do think as well, the Dogs have been 94% completion rate up to the 65th minute mark, whereas the Warriors were sitting at like a bit lower. But Leka Halasima, they relied on him a lot last year to get him out of trouble. He hasn't played as well this year, in my opinion. And I wonder, is there injuries? Like, what's going on there?
Yeah, he's definitely not anywhere near where he, last year, what he would have won 4 or 5 games just off individual brilliance. Hasn't really come close to looking like that realistically.
Well, not only not winning games, but he actually hasn't really been impacting games.
Well, no, Laban's been a much better back row for them this year, in my opinion. It probably is just the reality of a young footballer.
Second year,
all that sort of stuff, or second big year after exploding last year. And saying that, if they can turn it around with him, with Lecker, and he does just create those 1 or 2 things a game and can turn the world on its head. I think Stowers Smith has been unreal the last few weeks, boys. He's been a really good find for them. I think that next year you're obviously going to have Mitch Barnett leaving. You'll have Jackson Ford coming back in, but I like where their middle's at.
Yeah, well, their middles, the average play the ball speed was 3.15 seconds compared to 3.6 for the Dogs, which has mean they're winning the ruck, but 6 line breaks to 1. Again, that falls back on, I just don't think their halves are creating enough. They're not playing badly, but they're just not creating space for their outside men. Yeah,
I think the other thing that hurt them in this game was that Wade Egan was just bumped around massively. He was in all sorts throughout this game, but then to compound that, Torpicki had to leave the field. So Chance had to come on the field, which meant that they couldn't get Sam Healy onto the field, which I think really hurt them in the back end of this game as well.
Yeah. So we'll see. We will see. Hopefully they can turn it around. Onto the Cowboys defeating the Broncos 18-10. And I just want to get straight into it. The KO can't miss moment. It is Taumalolo winding the clock back. I mean, I loved it because it's against Payne Haas. And if there is a Payne Haas of his generation, it is Jason Taumalolo. And for Taumalolo to go, okay, I know that you have been touted as the greatest front row of all time, and yes, there are differences, and Payne Haas can probably play longer minutes or whatever. For Taumalolo to go there and win that battle, it's outrageous. It is absolutely outrageous, and he's probably the only player in history that could have won that battle.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, they lost to the Dolphins last week, and I don't know, you can probably talk a little bit more about it, Kemby, but I think for us New South Welshmen, when they talk about Queensland derbies, it matters, but I don't think it's I actually ran into Jason Taumalolo early last week, and he was fuming that they'd lost that Queensland derby last week and was jumping out of his skin that they had another one coming this week back at home. You obviously heard Todd Payton and Tommy Dearden throw some barbs at the Broncos in the post-game presser, all that sort of stuff last week. Dearden obviously got ruled out, but Taumalolo was fuming they lost against the Dolphins last week, and he led from the front here. He was incredible.
Mate, it's unbelievable. Genuinely, I couldn't believe what I was witnessing. What I thought initially was okay, there'll be a couple of early runs where Taumalolo might get the better of the boys, but, mate, he was, without him, they don't go close to winning that game. He was so instrumental. He genuinely tried to pick out the big forward pack of the Broncos specifically, run at Haas or run at Carrigan. And they just didn't have answers. And not to say that they played poorly, Carrigan or Haas by any stretch. Xavier Willison was fucking unbelievable again. He ran for 127 post-contact. Xavier Willison. Wow. 220 metres. He's frigging unbelievable. But yeah, Tamalolo winds the clock back and just reminds everyone, like, we're talking about one of the greatest forwards of all time. One of the greatest forwards of all time. And I don't know, whatever happened in regards to Peyton's relationship or whatever happened, whatever has been done there has been a masterstroke. Because I thought the Cowboys, that's the best game I've seen the Cowboys play in a very long time. Because it wasn't just like a gunfight where it was we'll score 30, you'll score 20. Like, the Broncos threw a fair bit at them. And look, granted, there were some Broncos that didn't play their best game, but they still played a pretty good game of footy. And the Cowboys were gritty, they were tough. I mean, to the point where, like, there was a period there where they gave away 3 head-high tackles, and the last one was on Reynolds. And I think the ref should have at least sent 110 in the bin at the 3rd head-high in a row. However, that was the message they were sending. They were like, you guys, essentially, because you're the Brisbane Broncos, you think you're bigger and better than us. We're the little brother, apparently. Let's get physical and see who wins that battle. Like, I'll be honest, the Broncos didn't respond to that physical battle quick enough. And the Cowboys won that physical battle, and they won the game in the end.
And obviously, Tamalolo, he's sort of tip of the spear with that sort of stuff you're talking about. Mate, I thought Griffin Neem in the first 15 minutes was enormous as well. He was coming out shot again.
What about Nanai?
Yeah, Nanai. I also thought Tom McHaley, like, he only played 30 minutes. He ran for 130 metres.
He was phenomenal when he came on. And that's the thing. I think the Broncos got a little bit ambushed with the venom of the Cowboys. I don't think we've seen a Cowboys side with this kind of venom before outside of maybe Penrith, the game they played against Penrith. And this is what excites me about this Cowboy side is, look, I know they can attack, and I know they can have a one-off good game here, but a Cowboy side with venom and that's willing to cross the line, sometimes it might slip a little bit high, but they'll say, all right, do something about it. That Cowboys, I don't think I've seen for a decade.
Yeah.
I haven't seen for a very long time.
And I mean, there's a lot of teams in this competition that if they were missing their best ball player and their hooker, you'd make excuses for. The Cowboys were on the weekend.
Yeah, lost Reed Marnie, 20 minutes in or something to a couple
I
maybe
think it was-
less.
I think it was 7 minutes in.
Yeah, it's 10 minutes in or whatever it was.
7 minutes in it was, yep.
Lost him, boom, all good. All good. Lost Dearden, all good. It's an outstanding performance from the Cowboys, and they earned it. It wasn't luck or flukes or like crazy plays or Scotty Drinkwater's magic. It was just grit and toughness, and that's where I'm going. Like, look, I'm not saying they're a premiership threat now, but I would not want to play this Cowboys in final series because they might knock off a big team.
Yeah, without a doubt. I was number 1 in camp. Jackson Purdue has to play in the halves at the start of the season. Boys, I just don't think you can leave Jackie Clifford out.
Yeah.
I think he has to be there with Dearden when they're fully fit. Kick for 600 metres on the weekend. I think that's what he brings.
How much better they look this week? Like, obviously, last week, Dearden came back in and bit of a surprise. They dropped Clifford altogether.
I couldn't believe that.
Yeah, the results show they got done by the Dolphins, but they bring him back in. They looked a lot, a lot better. Just kind of freed Purdue up a little bit. So when they're all fit and firing, I think Purdue, for this season at least, goes back to the centres and it's Dearden and Clifford.
And he'll be fullback next year. And like, what was so bizarre about that dropping? Now, Peyton said it was because at the back end of the Manly game, he might have been a bit rattled because of the kick that he missed or whatever. What was bizarre though was like Clifford and Dearden are your 6 and 7 next year. So it's like, why not just stick with that? Purdue's not playing 6 next year. He's playing fullback. I've got to give Clifford a lot of credit, though, because for a guy that didn't get selected against the Dolphins because he was rattled from Manly, he certainly didn't look it. He certainly didn't look rattled against the Broncos. He looked outstanding. And I think that, look, if you're still worried about him being your guy, surely Peyton, it's over now. Because he got dropped last year as well, and they had to bring him back, and they went on a run last year as well with Clifford. Hopefully this is the last game. It's the nail in the coffin when it comes to Peyton's belief in Clifford, where he just goes, okay, you are in my halves going forward, and that's the end of it. Surely.
I'd safely assume so.
Has to be.
Has to be.
It's done. So, yeah, the KO can't miss is the Cowboys, and maybe they're the real deal. They were phenomenal. They were absolutely phenomenal. Don't forget, guys, you can watch all 8 games live and ad break free during play on KO Sports. You got the Cowboys Roosters, will be a huge match. You got the Dragons v the Dolphins. You got the Storm v Doggies. You got the Titans v the Wars. You got the Panthers v the Raiders. That'll be a cracking match. Broncos v Knights. Sharks versus. What's going to be interesting at the Broncos is like, will we see the shackles released and we'll just like, and if it doesn't work and they don't drop the ball all the time, we see this like crazy footy. It'll be super interesting. Sharkies versus Rabbitohs. The Tigers versus the Eels. So make sure to watch that all on KO. And there's plenty of stuff coming up in the off-season, guys, so trust me, stick around. But yeah, in regards to some other performances, boys, I thought Chester he's a showstopper. The amount of line breaks or half line breaks that he makes just by running hard and fast is unbelievable. There were multiple times where Broncos were building pressure and then a big play from Chester would happen and all of a sudden that pressure would be released. He is a star of the future. And if he just sorts a little bit out in his defense, he will play Origin, in my opinion.
I've said it a few times, but I remember coming back from Vegas and at LA Airport, Tom Chester had, just got through so much work in that Las Vegas game. He had about 22 runs of the football. And I walked past him at the airport and I just looked at him and went, you can't do that every week. Not at that size. There's no way you can do that every week. He does it every fucking week. He is a maniac.
He's a maniac. They don't call him Tommy Chestbra for no reason.
The other one I want to give a shout out to, the world's toughest teacher's aide, doing it again. Braden Burns, 239 run meters, 2 line breaks, 4 tackle breaks.
What about the bump on Walsh?
Mate, to think he was almost lost to the game is fucking absurd.
We've got so many good players because, and that's also what's exciting about this TV rights deal. Hopefully, instead of all the money going to the top dogs, we put more money into guys like Burns that they don't have to sit there and go, man, I've got to start my career after footy. I'm getting paid peanuts. I'm not even in a top 25 squad. Like he just got lucky that there was a spot for him to start playing first grade because otherwise he's going to make the tough call of like, okay, I can keep playing this, get paid, I'll say $70K a year, and it's getting progressively less likely that I'll earn more money because I'm getting older and I'm going to retire, and I'm delaying my future after footy. Hopefully the NRL can start putting more money into guys like Burns because like there are so many guys like Burns that have to make that tough call of like, you know what, I need to focus on life after footy now. Do Cowboys even win without a got Burns? Like are Cowboys even sitting where they're sitting right now without Burns playing as well as he had this year? He's been crucial to
And
them.
people laugh at that and it's over the top. Like it's not. He has been so important to this side this year.
100%.
Come up with so many big moments and big plays. He's been enormous. He's been whoever did that scouting to get him from South Sydney reserve grade teacher's aide at Marcelin to get him up there and now he's doing what he's doing.
And just getting his
stuff.
body right too. He's struggled with injury. Cowboys, what a year. What an incredible year for Payton. What do you think, Tommy Wom?
Yeah, he's been incredible, Braden Burns. I mean, I've spoken before about a couple of weeks where he's like scored really key tries for the Cows from dummy half, just finding a way. And I remember watching him sort of early on when he was sort of in and out and struggling to sort of find his place. And like he was always a good finisher and you could tell there was a lot of potential there. But even like you spoke about that bump off on Walsh and when he set up that Clifford try, like he's actually a creator of moments now. Like he's not just a guy that you can hope is fast and he might finish off some moments that are created for him. Like he's creating them himself. So yeah, I thought he was incredible. You spoke about how Clifford sort of bounced back in a big way, but I thought both sides really, especially early on in the game, they were making a lot of meters in terms of like on average like per set relative to what you would expect from two like big packs. But I think that speaks a lot to like, I thought the back five for both sides really stood up in terms of the meters, and Braden Burns was at the front of that with 239 for his side. But a couple key moments. I even taken the 2 a couple times to not go up beyond like one score, but just to sort of increase.
What do we think about that Stags call and then the Broncos got pinged? I thought that was a harsh call, man. Look, the Cowboys were the better side. No, not take nothing away from it. I thought the ref was quite poor, to be honest. I thought it was a tough call. I thought the 3 head eyes in a row, no 10 in the bin for any of that. But yeah, look, that's just my opinion.
Well, I'm not a Broncos fan, and I thought the Stags one was ridiculous. I think he couldn't have done less to try and be involved in that tackle. Like, I thought he actually actively tried to move as far away from it as he could. So the penalty I could sort of live with if it's like, circumstance, it is what it is. But to go on report, like I don't think he's got anything to worry about there. The one that was the killer though, I think, was the brain explosion off the short dropout, like grabbing the ball just as an extra, just 2 points to go.
Well, it hit him, but he's just step back. If it's bouncing near you, step back, bro.
Yeah, he also like get out of the way. You know, what I mean, that was to go up 8 for the Cows, so that made a big difference.
So great stuff with the Cowboys. Quickly on the Broncos, we won't stand too long on them. I got to be honest, they just look a busted team. They look injured. Dean Mariner was limping off when he came off with his HIA, I'm pretty sure. Shibasaki, he came off with an injury. They just look busted, to be honest. Like, it's that simple. It's basically, like it seems like they put so much into that premiership last year that they just didn't have enough time. Oh, it's the bloody government. It's a bloody government.
Broncos excuse alarm. They're all injured. Everyone will have got a notification on that.
No action required. So no sacking of Madge. Okay, sweet. Joking.
Did yours go off as well?
Yeah.
Mine didn't.
You're off the system. You're off the
Crushed
grid.
by the government, eh?
Fucking hell, eh? But yeah, look, I think they're battered and bruised. I think that they're playing better footy, but it's that simple, really. They put everything into it. They probably tried to repeat that physicality heading into this year, and unfortunately, their bodies just didn't hold up.
Just from a strictly entertainment point of view for my Saturday night, like, geez, they look clunky, I thought, Brisbane, based on what they did the week before and how they just let Reece Walsh fucking do what he wanted. I feel like Ezra Mam and Adam Reynolds just sort of got in his way quite a bit the other night.
Well, I thought Mam had one of his better games, but for Reno, I think if I'm being honest, in a perfect world, he retires last year.
100%.
I think he probably just went a year too long, unfortunately. And look, it's not gonna cast any shadows on his career for me. I think he goes down as probably the most underrated 7 ever, considering his resume to how rated he is in the he's not in the great section of 7s. However, his resume is actually quite fucking good. It's quite up there. But yeah, I think even Benny Hunt, I'm a little bit surprised he's going around again. It's all good to have experience, but we've got Barnett, we've got Gagai coming. Little bit concerned about the age of some of our roster. But yeah, Reno, probably a year too long.
Just on Adam Reynolds, and there's a lot of guys you could put into this category, but I reckon there is a 10-year period there where you find me a better kicker of a football.
Yeah, fuck. Unbelievable. Like he had it on a string, and also he went through an era where you're getting jammed by blokes inside pressure on you.
Yeah.
And he was still on a string. It's a little bit different these days where you don't get touched.
Yeah.
Like some of the penalties for it over the weekend were so inconsistent. One day you're allowed to tackle them to the ground. The next day you're not.
Yeah, and I also think with Adam Reynolds, like the further you get away from his career, the more impressive his kicking will be. With the new rules coming in, and you're not seeing guys coming in with short kicking games like Adam Reynolds anymore. Because you don't need it.
You don't need it. Nah, it's not. So Xavier Willison, absolutely phenomenal again. The only thing I would say is I hope we're not running him into the ground. I hope that we manage his minutes at the back end of the season. Him playing 80 minutes is just, it's not good for his body long term. He's a big boy. So yeah, look, disappointing season. We think we have came up with this punishment. We're yet to land at 100%, but because the Cowboys knocked the Broncos out, I may have to wear a Cowboys jersey and a Cowboy hat for a month before finals footy. But
there was Arsenal's chaps in there too.
Yeah, where's the tassel vest?
Well, I already wear those right now.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
literally wearing
the tassel vest. I thought was
and also potentially a tasseled vest because the Cowboys knocked us out. But we'll confirm that.
Kemby was insisting on the nipple tassels, but we've let him off the hook with that. We thought that was a bit.
It was a bit
beyond the
much,
pale.
wasn't it? Yeah.
And it's supposed to be a punishment, boys. Now the other option is I sit when they play the Bulldogs. I sit in the Bulldogs fan bay with a Broncos
In the
jersey
kennel.
on. In the kennel, with a Broncos jersey on. Initially, they were So we'll see.
So that Cowboy one, that was every game for the rest of the regular season.
That's for a month, 4 weeks.
Yeah, for a month.
Yes,
I like that one.
it's but we'll see. We'll see.
With a mutual option in the next year as well, I think you said.
No,
earlier, Hammy.
yeah. Well, mutual options. I don't take it up. Done. See ya. Thanks. I don't want to play that position.
There's a door.
There's the door.
You'll take me back though, won't you?
No.
Okay, on to the next game. Titans v Dragons. Sorry.
I might have to jump ahead and do face music now just because I've got to get back
Oh,
to the 3
yes.
o'clock meeting, if that's okay.
No, it's all right.
Yep.
We don't usually cut corners at Face Music, but you are a Tigers fan, so you have to cut corners.
Go Tigers. All right, Thursday night, huge game. This can't believe the price again for the Cowboys. $2.46. They are hosting up in Townsville. The Roosters, $1.55. 5.5 points is the line. What are we thinking here?
Sorry, I just got to get it up here.
No, all good.
Hammy, I think that price for the Cows is outrageous.
Me too.
I'm going to take a perfect storm little bet here and take Cowboys to win 13 plus.
Well, $7 earlier when we were discussing in the green room, $6 now.
Oh, it's
13
come
plus.
in. They're listening.
It has.
Um,
That's what the alert was for. I think.
I'll take Roosters minus 5.5.
Roosters minus 5.5.
Roosters 13 plus.
Okay, $2.75. Matty? Cowboys 13 plus. I'm going to take the Cowboys head to head, $2.46. Good value there. Friday, 6 p.m. Friday. Dragons $4.10 host the Dolphins $1.24. 12.5 points is the line. 6 p.m. Friday.
I'll take the. Who's a tough one? I'll take the Dolphins minus 12.5.
Yeah.
I will take the Dolphins 1 to 12.
325.
Dragons line, please.
Oh, okay. Yell it out just for this one. Dragons with the start. I will take the Dolphins to cover the start. Storm, $2.18. They host the Dogs, $1.69. 2.5 points is the line on Friday, 8 p.m.
Dogs 13 plus.
340.
Dogs head to head.
Yep.
Dogs 13
$1.69.
plus.
340. Matty's going to take the Dogs minus 2.5. That's an interesting one. I'll take the Doggies minus 2.5 as well. All right, Saturday, Super Saturday. Gold Coast Titans, $2.32 host the Warriors. $1.61. Banana peel game, this one for the Warriors. 3.5 points is the line in this one.
Warriors 13 plus.
$3.
Titans 1 to 12.
350.
Titans head to head.
232. Matty's going to take the Titans 13 plus, $5.20. I'll take the Titans head to head as well, $2.32. 530. Panthers $1.31 host the Raiders. $3.47. This is out in Mudgee, I believe. 10.5 points is the line.
I'm taking Raiders at line.
Panthers 1 to 12.
$3.
Raiders 1 to 12.
$4.60. Matty's gone the Raiders plus 10.5. I will take the Raiders 1 to 12, $4.60. Broncos, $1.52 host the Knights, $2.55.
And the Broncos 13 plus is paying $2.75.
Yeah, what the hell? I guess no Dill Brown, no Dill Lucas.
I'll take Broncos minus 5.5 start.
Yep.
Knights 1 to 12.
360.
Knights head to head.
Yep, 255. I'll take them as well. Matty's going to take the Broncos minus 5.5. We're on to Sunday. Sharks, $1.34. Host the Rabbitohs, $3.28. 8.5 points is the line at Shark Park.
Oh, man. I'll take the Sharks 1 to 12.
290.
Sharks 13 plus.
220.
Sharks 13 plus.
Yep, 220. Matty's gone Souths plus 8.5. I will go Sharks minus 8.5. And to bring us home, Tigers, $3.07. They host the Parramatta Eels, $1.38. Luai Bowl, 8.5 is the line.
Tigers 13 plus.
Nice, $7.75.
Parramatta 13 plus.
230.
Doorbet, Golden Point.
Golden Point.
Oh
Matty's
my
going
God.
to take the Tigers 1 to
Content.
12 for
Dad
$4.10.
bet. Fun bet.
Content.
I will take the Tigers head to head for $3.07. Giddy up, round 22, face the music.
There
Now,
you go.
Before you go, Hammy, I would just like to congratulate myself and Matty the Waterboy who have qualified for the finals in our Supercoach draft comp. You two boys have bowed out, unfortunately.
I didn't even know what was happening with that thing.
Your score reflects that.
Yeah, mine would as well, I reckon.
You just missed the 8. You
Did
finished,
I?
Yeah, you missed the 6, sorry. Finished in 7th.
Ah, there you go.
Yeah, so me and Timmy play each other
I come
this
last?
week. No, you didn't. Cat came last, which should be getting a stern word about.
Yeah. Who's on top?
What have we got here? The ladder is Tom Sangster in first place, Maxi Bryden in second, Tim Fuckwit Williams in third, Wilson in fourth, Matty the Waterboy in fifth, and I'm in sixth. The Canberra Raiders just missed out.
Oh, you just scraped in yourself.
Just scraped in.
Oh,
Yeah. There you go. So
scraped
Cat's got to buy someone dinner. That'll be interesting.
Cat's got to take Tommy Sangster out for dinner, which, dare I say, might be one of the great moments of Sangster's life. Shout out to him.
Huge.
Okay. Titans defeat the Dragons 38-18.
You narrowly avoided having to take someone out for dinner there.
No, I was always fucking locked in. Don't worry about that. Oh, fucking hell. Could you imagine?
In your tassels.
Fucking hell.
Steakhouse.
Yeah, the best thing is I played you this week.
Oh, really?
And you hadn't touched your team. And I went to give you shit about it last week. Then I was like, oh, just in case he does touch it. If I lose, I won't make finals. So I thought I'll just stay quiet.
Yeah, I don't know. I've got half my blokes probably missing. Great pick. One of the great picks all time. That was content. That was actually content. Okay, Titans 38, Dragons 18. they were in this game, the Dragons. Obviously started quite well. Great offload from Gutho. But, mate, Titans, they played bloody good. I thought this was Campbell's game, and I thought Tino was outstanding as well. But I really like the direction that the Titans are heading in. I thought this was Dragons, like, probably the most disappointed I've been with the Dragons in maybe 5 to 6 weeks. So, yeah, good win for the Titans.
I tend to agree. I expected a lot more out of the Dragons in this one. Gutho's 250. Dean Young just re-signed. I thought they'd win or at least get up for this one. But, yeah, mate, the Titans, I love this hooker. He is so fucking good. Pasco. And if I'm a Titans fan, I mean, thank Christ I'm not, given the last 20 years, but you might finish bottom 5 or 6 again, but at least I feel like for the first time, I know what their spine's going to look like for the next 5 years.
Zane Harrison is their 7.
Yep.
He's a good 7. And they're also, like, there's a style of rugby league that is blossoming out of the club. Like, there's a very clear direction, whereas before it was very much like your style is essentially we're gunslingers. Whereas there's definitely a style and a standard each week that they play with. I thought Bo Fuma was also outstanding in the first half especially. What do you think, Tommy Bomb?
Yeah, I think they're starting to play like a responsible gunslinging style.
Responsible gunslinger.
Yeah, responsible gunslinger. I think
18-plus kind of gunslinger.
That is the perfect way to describe Jaden Campbell. I think he's a responsible gunslinger at the moment.
okay.
I think you can do that when you've got the balance of someone like a Zane, even though he's young. I think he complements him really well. But yeah, I think their left edge looked unreal. And I was trying to figure out the whole game. I was like, is the Dragons' right edge a genuine concern today? Like, is this really poor from them, or is it just that they're red hot down the Titans' left? And I do think it was definitely both those things. But yeah, like De Groot looked unreal. Like obviously he's sort of come in over the last couple of weeks there, scored 2 tries, had a great game. They are going to miss Phil Sami obviously when he leaves. Like he ran for 239 meters again in this one. But yeah, I think they just did a really good job of just staying in control even when it was sort of at one stage they were only up by 4 points and it was quite tight. But they sort of just stayed patient. Even like the Dragons, they gave away two pretty ill-disciplined penalties at pretty pivotal points, which meant that the Titans kicked 2 penalty goals, which took it from 4 to 8, and then they were able to run away with it. Good to see Tino get over late too off that Verrills face ball.
Yeah, I think with the Dragons, the positive is I'm pretty confident that they won't do this again next week. Or at the very least, like, we're not going to just see a complete downward spiral from here. I hope not, because it's like almost the curse of re-signing a coach where it's almost like people fall back into old habits or relax a little bit. But yeah, in regards to the Titans, like, I thought Tino was phenomenal. I thought this is the Tino that we've known from pretty much most of his career, and understandably so. He's obviously went through some personal stuff this year. I thought, look, I got to give Mo Fodawaker a lot of credit too, because this is a make or break year for him, in my opinion. And I think that if he had another down year, the Titans would have been well within their rights, not to just cut him, but to at least have a conversation with him and be like, mate, like, we're paying you a good amount of money and it's probably not working. He's almost stepped up and been a bit elite. Like when Tino's had some struggles off the field, Moe's stepped up and been a leader at the club, which I think he deserves a lot of credit for that.
100%. I think he stepped up massively this year. So much so, and I understand it has something to do with the injury, but I'll tell you what, boys, I was very surprised to see it pop up yesterday that Jermaine Joliffe's going over to the Super League.
Really? Okay.
Coming off an ACL. But I reckon that has got part to do with the Mo Fodawaker has
Mowing.
stepped up this year.
Yeah, he stepped up massively, especially, and I've got to put my hand up and say I got it wrong. When he was named captain, I was like, is that the right call? Like, I feel like he needs to worry about just getting his game on. But I did say at the time that sometimes captaincy can bring the best out of a player, and it's clearly brought the best out of him. And it's almost freed up Tino a little bit, to be honest.
Yeah, very fair.
So, yeah, that like if they can keep playing like that, that's a front row that I love that front row together.
One of you already mentioned him, but boys, watching Jaden Campbell yesterday.
Fuck.
When he's on like that, there's not many better players to watch in the game. 2 line breaks, 1 line break assist, 3 try assists. He scored a try himself, kicked 5 goals. That individual try that he scored, just
Freakish.
Freak. Absolute fucking freak.
I'm trying to think, like, in regards to players with a lot of weapons, he is similar-ish to Reece Walsh. Like, he's got great footwork, a great running game, but also the ball-playing skills of a half. You could put him at fullback or at 7.
Yeah.
And it's probably only really him, KP, and Reece Walsh at the moment. I'm probably forgetting someone, so apologies. That could either be a 7 or a fullback, but play each position at a top tier level.
I think the difference with Jaden Campbell is, and I know that this probably isn't as appreciated nowadays, but like Reece Walsh, when he's at his best, everything is 100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Jaden Campbell's able to play slow. His tempo isn't like these other guys in the game that I think sort of takes away from him a little bit. Like I think Jaden Campbell is one of those guys that he would have been as effective now as any year of rugby league.
Yeah.
Because of his ability to play at different tempos.
Yeah. So, look, the Dragons will be back, I'm sure of it. Titans could win. Let's move on to the Sharkies. Sharkies defeat the Sea Eagles 48-12. Boys, are the Sharkies the real deal? Because I'm starting to get a bit excited. I'm starting to go, hang on a sec. Have I ever seen Sharkies like this before? If you actually look at the origin period, or at the very least the last 6 to 8 weeks, they're on top of the table. I'm nervous because I'm like getting excited going, hang on a sec. I don't know if I've seen them play this well before. I don't know if I've ever seen Hines, Trindle, Kennedy, Brayley just looking smooth as anything. Like right now, they're the smoothest spine in the comp. And I'm daring to dream. I'm daring to dream, and I'm worried I'm going to get my heart broken. But, mate, they look phenomenal. And Nicho Hines, that's easily the best game he's had since his that's the best game he's had since his Dally M year. And I'd argue it's probably even better because back then it was just purely like front foot footy, play what you see. This one was a fully rounded, unbelievable game from Nicho Hines. Absolutely phenomenal stuff. I'm getting excited for the Sharkies.
I am so scared of getting hurt, but I'm getting excited. Boys, if you have a look at their season, their last loss was in, I think, round 11, was it? I think they've won. Oh no, sorry. Since round 11, they've lost one game against the Roosters, right? This is the rest of their season: South Sydney, Dragons, Canberra, Titans, Parramatta, Melbourne. I think there's every chance they don't lose another game.
We did a top 4 prediction. I reckon they might end up second.
Sowie said
Maybe
on my
even first.
podcast last week, get on them for the minor premiership. They were at 30-1 at the time, and Penrith were looking a little bit shaky after losing to Brisbane. Penrith obviously won on the weekend. I don't think they'll get the minor premiership, but I think this team has every chance to get a home final come week 1, and I think there's every chance that we are looking at a Sharkies team, finals week 1, that you'll sit there and go, okay, since round 11, they've lost one fucking game. That was May.
Mate, it's amazing. And again, it's Hines and Trindle and all the boys playing together at the same time, playing good together at the same time. We haven't seen that before. Like, honestly, there were times yesterday where it looked like first grade versus reserve grade. Like, they were so slick and so silky and took advantage of every opportunity they had. I just can't remember a Sharky side being like that. I really can't. What do you reckon, Tommy Bomb?
Well, I reckon, we always debate, especially like the last few years, the idea of like the 7 versus 6. Like we talk about with Galvin, and even like, you've seen with the Knights, like there's always exceptions that prove the rule. Like I do think 100% it is a thing. It does matter what jersey number is on your back. And obviously that's been something that's been the conversation with Trindle and Hines over the years as well. However, the reason I bring up the Knights, when you see like KP playing like a 7, Dill Brown's in the 7, but he's very run first and his running game very much dominates. Like when it does work, it does work. And I think for the last couple of weeks, and especially on the weekend, you're starting to see these guys really find their dynamic. Like, you mentioned before, Kempy, in his Dally M year, in that real peak of the 6 again era, you sort of had to run first as your mentality. That was just what the game was. And then we've seen it move away from that. And I think Hines has sort of struggled with the idea of, like, the reality is 4 years as a halfback is not a long time in the context of like playing footy. When they're all in the NRL and your first year, you won the best player in the comp. Like, I think we've seen him sort of get caught up in the idea of, it's on, I want to run, but I'm the 7. Maybe we need to get to this point. I don't want to derail the set. And then that steps on Trindle's toes a bit. Like, they just seem to have found the perfect dynamic where Hines is running first. He's playing what he sees. Like, even that try he scored, he fucking ran through the entire pack, essentially, slammed it down. Like, yeah, it's exciting. The other aspect that I loved from this game on the weekend, like, AFB off the bench. Like,
they seem to have gone, hey, Fitzy must be listening to the potty.
Hey, clearly.
A few weeks ago we were saying, fuck, I want to see AFB off the bench. It's working. Him and Talakai fucking destroyed off the bench.
There was aspects of AFB's game at the games at the Warriors, which were the main reasons for me why the narrative was, well, he could be the missing piece. And one of the biggest aspects of that was his ball playing and the link role that he used to play there all the time. And we saw that on one of Ronaldo's tries when he dug in and played out the back to Hines, and Hines threw the long ball. We hadn't really seen it from AFB in as big of a sample size this year as what we used to see at the Warriors. But since this move over the last couple of weeks off the bench, it looks like he's just playing completely free.
Well, his form has gone like that.
Yeah.
Like he was actually having I wouldn't say a bad year, but definitely not a great year this year. He's gone back to the bench and he is truly impacting games. And, you know, we spoke during that time, we were like, you know, is Will Kennedy, is he the upgrade needed? And I was of the mind, I actually think they need another front rower to like help AFB. And it seems like Calhoun and Kafusi have opened a bit of space for him. And then you add in Talakai coming off the bench, him bumping Benchavojevic was like, oh.
Yeah.
And so, like, if you're a forward pack already on the back foot and you got Talakai coming off the bench, I think he ran for like 140 metres in like 30 minutes or something like that, Talakai. The pieces of the puzzle are falling together. And I wonder if we've been a little bit too harsh on Kennedy, where in reality, he's doing what he's paid to do, which is around $400K a year, 1 year deals every single year. He is playing a 7.5 to 8 out of 10 every single week. It just needs Hines and Trindle and Brayley to go to another level together. I don't know. I want to see him against another team, like a formed Dolphins. Penrith is tough because that seems to be their bogey side. But I love what I'm seeing. I love what I'm seeing.
In a weird way, that might be the only thing that goes against the Sharkies. They're not going to – I'm looking at this draw. I don't think they're going to get a real test before final.
Yeah, so they might go in with a bit of false confidence, but they'll get 2 shots at it at the very least.
Yes, they will. Yeah. 100%. But yeah, even these 5 games remaining, 6 games, whatever the hell it is, like the Sharkies that we've got to know over the last few years, they will win 4 of these by 30 and then they'll lose 2 of them that you can't work out how the fuck they lost them. Really hope we don't see that.
Yeah. No,
Because I think, all the guys, you got the right edge leaving, you got Talakai leaving, all these guys, Cam McInnes leaving, like
it's now.
this is it.
Yeah, this is it.
Fuck, I hope we see it.
Yeah.
I really don't want this to be, we look back in 5 years' time and go, geez, remember that Sharkies team they built
mate.
for 5 years?
Honestly, an extremely tight loss in a prelim or a grand final appearance is enough for me with this squad. A grand final appearance for me, I would consider that run a success. Now, I know that's not as sexy and a romantic of like, no, we win premierships or it's no answer. I think if you get into a grand final, because you don't know what's going to happen on a grand final day, I think that's a pretty good 5-year run lead up to it.
I agree. I hope internally, though, we should win a competition.
Of course. I just think when you look at how well year on year they've gone, bit better. And the end goal being make a grand final, it's pretty faultless. It's a pretty faultless progression to that point. If they do make a grand final, it's a lot of big ifs.
Do you think it's fair to say, like, I reckon in the last few years, if you were a Sharkies fan, like last year especially, and I know they were closer than we thought, but the vibe was always so close but so far. I think you would have been disappointed with that aspect of it. I think this would be the first year where if you were to bow out in a prelim again, the genuine feeling would be, fuck, we actually had the team to do it. Like we saw a run of form where that can beat Penrith.
Well, I'll put it this way. I give the Sharks a 50-50 chance of beating any team in the comp outside of the Panthers. I probably wouldn't have had that same confidence the last few years, even though they had beaten those sides. But do you know what I'm saying? Like they're
Well, I mean, and you wouldn't have had that confidence 3 weeks ago, realistically. I don't think you would have said that about the Dolphins 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, so it's exciting.
Big game on though as well against the Panthers at the moment. Like you wouldn't be watching it going, fuck it, a lot would have to go wrong for the Panthers for them to lose to the Sharks.
Now the NordVPN defense play of the week, it is Wilson's hit on Lehigh Hopewadi. Lehigh Hopewadi hits this crazy unders line on the line. Teague Wharton just goes bang underneath the ball. The ball comes out. And the game was still in the balance at that stage. It was a very, very crucial moment. Teague Wharton has been phenomenal. He has locked down that edge. I actually think Britton Nikora coming back from Origin, it seems like, I know he had a bit of a down game last week, but he was much better this week. But yeah, the NordVPN defense play, it was Teague Wharton's hit on Lehigh Hopewadi. Don't forget, guys, I was overseas early in the year and I used it for sporting events, TV shows, movies, you name it. I watch it like I was back home. Another great feature is you can switch your virtual location to so many different places in the world. This allows you to save money by purchasing flights, hotels, subscriptions from other countries at a cheaper price. It's also super safe. NordVPN provides you with privacy online, leaving no digital footprint by hiding your IP address. It's like wearing an invisibility cloak online. To get the best discount off your NordVPN plan, go to nordvpn.com/bloke. Our link will also give you 4 extra months on the 2-year plan. There's no risk with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. So give it a try, guys. You've got nothing to lose. The link is in the podcast episode description box. And a massive thank you to NordVPN. They've been supporting us for quite a few months now, guys. So please just click the link and check it out. It really does help and support the show. Now, in regards to some other performers in the Sharks side, guys, I think it was obviously Hines was the standout, but I thought Trinder was good again. Bailey was good again. I'll just get Hines' stats up, by the way. 1 try, 2 try assists, 149 run meters, 5 tackle breaks, 3 line breaks, 2 line break assists, 4 offloads, and 24 tackles. And he converted at a rate of 8 from 8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What a game.
Yeah, he was sensational, Nico. I know it doesn't appear on the stat sheet as well, but Adam's hairdresser. Wow.
Get him on the stat
Take a
sheet.
bow.
Holy shit.
Sensational
That's
stuff.
a premiership winning haircut if I've ever seen one. But yeah, I'm so happy for Nico Hines. Like he's a different, ever since coming back from injury, he is a different person.
Yeah.
He is run first. He is confident. He's stronger in contact. He looks dangerous every time he touches the ball. It's special.
I even love, you've seen Nico, I've noticed over the last 6 weeks or so, occasionally like he gets stuck in a play the ball and he'll fucking push guys.
Yeah,
Like,
fucking
he's
oath.
got a bit of shit about him, which I love to see. I think there's a sniff around Nico that, people want to sort of, I think it sometimes like suggests that he's a bit soft, I guess is the
Too
way
nice.
to put it. Too nice, I think is a good way to put it, which I think has sort of been part of the Cronulla Sharks and their DNA over the last 5 years, in my opinion. But I feel like he's started to take that personally, and I love it.
Yeah, I'm with you. Now, onto the Seagulls. Wow. Their slide has been astronomical. Mate, they are, like, I thought Lei Hopewadi probably had his worst game in first grade. Like, he was poor. Their forwards are just nowhere near where they need to be. Joey Walsh, unfortunately, he's got a really bright future, but his defense at the moment is not NRL standard. Like, he fell for, I think it was nearly 3 dummies for a line break off Hines. At the very least, it was definitely 2. Like their 3 defense is very, very shaky. Their forwards are getting dominated. Yeah, I'm a little bit concerned for the Manly Seagulls going forward because this roster isn't changing much heading into next year. They're missing Wakeham. They're definitely missing Brooks. I think if they can somehow get into the market now for another forward, they need to ASAP, in my opinion.
I cannot believe, and this is with all due respect to him, you just said the sentence, they're missing Wakeham, and I nod my head like, yeah, big time.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's mental. It's obviously it's a compliment to him,
100% it is.
but it's also like, boys,
Yeah.
fuck.
But I think this is, we spoke about it all preseason. I had him tip for the spoon. I don't know where you guys had him from memory, but like,
Item bottom 2.
yeah, like we went in there just saying this team has no underbelly. And I think you're starting to see that again, unfortunately. And I think Foran's, said all the right things over the last few weeks, but they're just not responding.
And this is where I think, and look, it's super early to say it, but if this continues, Foran cannot afford to be the nice guy here. If they aren't going to, because like you, as a playing group, you can talk as much about how much you respect Foran. It means 0. I'll show you how you show you respect him is how you play.
Yeah.
And this is where I feel like if it is the case that they continue sliding all the way to the off season, I think he needs to get aggressive in the trade market. In the market, and look to make some moves early on because the longer he leaves it, the more pressure that heaps up. Like this incredible start he had to his coaching career, it might actually hurt him because like him finishing 10th or whatever is seen as a massive failure. And if he finishes 10th again next year, it's like, oh, massive failure, when in reality you're like, well, hang on a sec. He's a new coach starting his coaching career and also look at what they were like before he arrived. So I think if this continues, I think he needs to be aggressive in the market. I think he needs to make some big calls. If it continues, I'm not saying right now, I think he needs to use some goodwill of a coach that he's managed to build this year. Also the fact that he's Kieran Foran to go out and get some forwards.
And it's the reality is, mate, it's a tough time to go out and get players with PNG and with Perth and money to throw around. It's a tough time to do it. So I'm sure he can go out there and get some guys, but he's going to have to get a lot more out of it. Well, he's going to have to get out of this side what he did for that 8 or 10 week honeymoon period.
Yes.
But he, you know, like obviously Simi has come onto the scene, but can be everything we spoke about earlier in the year when they made the change in coach is like, it's all still true. Like they do need to go out in the market. I'd be going at Moses Leota if I could. And I know like you just mentioned that you got Bears coming in, Chiefs or whatever, but you need probably someone who is more senior and just ready to go now. But I also wonder, even things like Joey Walsh, like we wrapped Ricky Stewart before for how he sort of approached this year. Like, are we seeing Kieran Foran take the same approach with someone like a Joey Walsh where it's like you could try and make a change there to shore it up, but maybe like it's just worth taking the lessons now, getting reps defensively? Like, has he sort of summed it up and thought, you know what, like I could try and Band-Aid to maybe salvage an 8th spot, or do I just take my medicine, pick the guys that are going to be here longer term?
Well, I don't think he has the choice at the moment, does he? Brooks out for quite a while. Isn't
Brooks is out for quite a while, so you wouldn't be bringing him in, but...
Well, yeah, and then it's Walsh or Large, essentially, so you're in the same boat.
Yeah,
that's
you're
right.
throwing a guy on the deep end. Look, I don't think dropping Walsh is the answer. I think you probably hurt him a little bit, but I do think like, you know, working as hard as you can on his defense is probably the answer. But I don't think he's a problem. I think it's their forward pack getting just absolutely dominated.
And that's the other thing, though, too, like to my point, like there's no one in Cup that's banging the door down to come in and be any better, realistically. Like there are a lot of guys there that did stand up for a big chunk of this year, and I think you're better off just giving them the reps towards the back end and going to a full preseason with Foz ready to go again next year.
I think with Manly, they are one of those situations, if I'm going up against them, I think my first 20 minutes is just all about contain Paseka. Then you're okay.
Yeah. Because outside of that, like, you know, they've got Leafy, I think it is. He's young. He's very young.
Yep.
Yeah, Simi.
You kind of you've contained him at this stage. It's obviously got Kobe Hetherington. Is he injured? I mean, at least it seems like he's playing injured. Willie Moore, you know, hasn't really hit the form that we know he can. It's like I'm a little bit concerned. I'm a little bit concerned for me.
Just for context as well, like Paseka hasn't run for over 100 metres in the last 2 weeks. Like he's been contained well.
And Olakawatu's working his dick off. He ran for 180 metres, so he can't really do much more. Yeah, I'm a little bit worried. Like unless they're just smashed with injuries and that's why they're playing so poorly. But like the scary thing is they haven't even been playing some of the top tier sides.
Yep.
They've been playing sides that like Sharks are the first top tier side they've played and they just got hammered. 30-6 in the first half. But outside of that, we're talking like Eels, Titans, Dogs.
Well, essentially the last time they played a team that we all think can win the comp was the Sharkies in round 13. Rabbitohs, Bulldogs, Storm, Eels, Cowboys maybe in there, sure. But
Yeah. So concerning, very concerning. I hope they can turn around. I hope they, you know, it's very early to say, but just stay patient with Kieran Foran. Like, don't fucking start heaping pressure on him next year. But with the way rugby league is and the standard that he unfortunately, like honestly, he would have been better off going win-loss.
fucking oath you would have been.
Because then everyone's like, okay, we're building. We're rebuilding. But when, you know, no one's thinking we're rebuilding right now as a Manly Seagulls, when in reality that roster is a rebuilding roster.
Like the position Manly find themselves in right now is so much better than what it looked like in round 3.
Oh.
But it feels like they've gone backwards a mile.
It's bizarre.
The reality is they've gone forward.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. But the problem is, I guess, is that how much more forward can they go with this current roster without some recruits brought into it if this continues?
Yeah.
If this continues. Isn't it bizarre how, like, this same roster 6 weeks ago I was saying is a premiership threat. 6 weeks later it's like, my God, what's happened? And it just shows you that how much rugby league is between the ears.
But you still also, you know, you're still 1 or 2 middles short in terms of your depth, Kempy. Like even you mentioned before, Kobe Hetherington, when he's been braining it, and let's assume that he is carrying something at the moment, so he's limited. And even like Bullemore ran for like 35 metres from 5 runs. Like that's nothing relative to the standards that he has been able to set at different points this year. Like you do need guys there because the second that you come up against a team like the Sharks, who at the moment they are humming, they are a premiership threat. Like you're worlds apart. You're 36 points different. So, yeah, as much as we spoke about it at the start of the year, and they had that great run for 10 or 11 weeks, like they do need to go to market. They do need to get more middles.
Well, for example, like, you know, unfortunately 67 minutes from Jake Trbojevic, 50 metres. And like it was 53% possession to Sharks, 47 to to Manly. So it's not like it was like a 60-40 split or whatever. Like that's back to the old, does he have to have that tough conversation?
Yeah, potentially.
Like can he afford to have a guy on there for 60 minutes, even though he's a great defender, only run for 50 metres? When you've got, some of the other guys, like, you got Isaiah Yeo, who's the cream of the crop. You got Cam Murray, you got Paddy Carrigan.
Yep.
You got even Trent Leoro's running for 100 metres, per game kind of thing. And I say even because he's a defensive style player, not because he's not good. So yeah, look, we'll see. Man, rugby league, it's a roller coaster. It is truly a roller coaster. Start of the year, you say, this is my judgment on the team. Then you feel like you've been proven wrong. So you put your hand up and you say, I've got proven wrong. And then they come back to the team that, probably matches the judgment from the start of the season. Very strange. All right, that's us done and dusted. Give Tommy a follow. Give Rue a follow. As usual, we'll go and fuck ourselves. Thank you.
What's gambling really costing you? For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelponline.org.au.